Hello everybody and welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast. I'm your host, Tiger. I hope you guys do enjoy this episode. I have a returning guest. He's my power time, my best friend and business partner, Cosplaydude637, also known as Willy. He's come and joined me once again so we can talk about the fantastic show that is X-Men 97. So of course, if you haven't watched all of X-Men 97, there is a point in this episode where there are major spoilers. I do give you the warning though, when that moment does arrive. So yeah, I just hope that you guys, if you guys enjoyed X-Men 97 or you're more curious about other people's thoughts, then this is definitely the episode for you. Just a pre-warning, new PC, which I was tinkering with whilst during this podcast recording, had a few issues and my power actually cut from the PC halfway through recording, but about the 2-hour mark-ish, I believe. And you'll hear Willy kind of lose me for a minute, but yeah, I just thought I'd pre-warn you that it was actually me that had the full-blown recording issue this time around, and it's all sorted now though, we're all good. And so yeah, I really hope you guys enjoy this episode. Again, we're all talking about X-Men 97, it was a fantastic TV show, we're all very much looking forward to season 2, so I hope you guys are strapped in and enjoy.
Welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast, a place where you'll find interviews with content creators and geeks alike. Your host, Tiger, has delved upon the Nexus and found interesting content creators and geeks of all fandoms. This podcast is connected to the Zero Hero Network. And now, we dive in with another episode!
Hello everybody and welcome to the Tiger Nexus podcast. Today, we're geeking out about X-Men 97. I've brought back another guest. This guest has actually been on twice already, so this is his now third strike. I don't know what happens if you're on the podcast 3 times. I don't know if you win a medal or you get cursed or something. I'll find out in a couple of days. I'll check in with him and see what happens. But today, we're geeking out about X-Men 97. He's a huge X-Men fan. He's very well known for his love for GAMBIT and Rogue, specifically, and he's actually very recently started writing a lot of X-Men stories, which we'll get into as well. But today I have Cosplaydude637 returning. Hey bro, how's you?
What is up? What do you mean I have a lot of X-Men stories? You're one to talk.
We'll get to that later. I'm not... Don't throw me into it, okay? This is my podcast. I throw you into it.
Dude has 50 billion YouTube channels, and yet I have a lot of X-Men stories. Okay, dude. I see how it is.
Okay, to be fair, if you class me in for hire as like an X-Men thingy, then I might just like have a bit too many.
I'm not saying a word anymore. Continue your hosting job.
But anyway, let's start this off with, as an overhaul, without giving away too many details at the get-go, from begin to end, what was your kind of thoughts of X-Men 97?
Oh, X-Men 97, I was leery going into it because, I grew up on the original X-Men.
Yep.
So I was real leery going into it. But I have to say, Disney, you get the chef's kiss, because, it was amazing. Well, there is a certain part which you know about that I'm not too thrilled with, but yeah, I'm excited to see what comes of that.
Yes, we will absolutely. I'm going to leave that for a specific section because I know exactly what I'm talking about. So, I'm going to mention the art style real quick because that's one thing I see a lot of people talk whether they love it or hate it. Where do you stand on the art style?
I actually like it. It took me a little bit because, again, it's not the original. It's a different... It's trying to be like the original, but still not. So it took me a minute to get around it, other than what they did to my poor girl.
He's about Rogue, by the way.
Yes, I'm talking about Rogue and the fact that she no longer has her...
juicy, voluptuous attitude.
Yeah, let's go with those words. But yeah, I did enjoy it. It was a cool art style. The only character that really I had to wrap my head around, and it's stupid, I know, is just Morph, because I know him as the other form, which we do see him sometimes in the episodes. But I also know that's his comic book accurate form, so it just took me a minute to get wrapped around it.
Yeah, I was, when it comes to the animation, the art style, I was kind of the same. Like the first episode, I didn't know what was going to happen with the storyline, obviously, but watching the first episode, I'm sort of thinking, okay, I like it, but like, I just couldn't put my finger on what was weird about it. It was almost just like, it's like when a company brings back a flavor of food that has been around for so long, but you can tell that they've changed the recipe slightly, and it's just like something's off about this. But by the time you get to like episode 3, episode 4, you kind of forgot about the art style and you're just more focused on how awesome the storyline is. That one little nitpick's just like gone. It's fine. It's okay. Just ignore it. It's all good. The storyline's better than anything else.
Yeah. Yeah, completely agree. Once you get hooked on the storyline, you're hooked.
yeah. And like, I grew up with the X-Men cartoon. I watched it side by side with the Spider-Man cartoon. That's kind of how I think I fell in love with X-Men in general. Actually, I think is because of the cartoon. That definitely got me into things like the X-Men movies, watching X-Men Evolution, playing some of the X-Men games and stuff. Is that cartoon? Obviously, that's where my love for Wolverine came from.
Sorry, just made me think of Logan, which we can talk about later because of what I did.
But yeah, it's just a case of once you get over the fact that it's not the same animation as back then, you can tell they're respecting it, but they're doing their own little thing with it. That's fine. You can kind of see a bit of what if in there, just ever so slightly. You can kind of just a little bit. You can kind of tell that they're used to playing around with what if, but they're trying to be the old animation at the same time. It works. It's some of the scenes are absolutely fantastically done. They're gorgeous.
Oh yeah,
in this animation. Okay, this is one of the most.
Can I just say one of the, because we're talking about scenes, one of the things that they did that I loved that they did it was in the the opening credit scene, with the background music, they switched Jubilee for Roberto. I don't know why, but I just love that they did that.
Yes, they actually changed it quite a few times, didn't they? They actually, especially after a couple of events happened, they swapped characters around.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's in it now, and things like this. Yeah, they did change, quite a few things. And yeah, Roberto gets put in instead of Jubilee. I thought that was actually really clever, because obviously it's different, isn't it? In the original X-Men, it starts with Jubilee, and that scene makes perfect sense. But this time around, Jubilee's the person bringing in Roberto. It's almost like she's kind of took a step forward in the role, so now she's gone to recruiting people.
She's no longer a trainee. She's no longer a trainee, but more of an actual member of the team now.
Yeah.
And we see that throughout the show.
Absolutely, yeah. I totally agree. I love that. But yeah, with the animation, I think one of the scenes that took me and I was like, well, okay, fair enough, I see you, and it's I think it's the first episode, I could be wrong, maybe it's the second, but it's the scene where they're all falling and Cyclops is like, I'll see you on the ground, and then he just does this big blast from his eyes and he literally saves himself via shooting a beam from the sky, and he reduces the altitude so he can land safely. Holy fucking crap, that was sick. That was so good. That's what made me sit there and think, yeah, right, I'll excuse the animation. That was fucking cool.
Yeah. I actually watched a reaction video to that scene today, and the dudes were just freaking out, and because they're like, we've never seen him use his powers like that. No, we have not, but that's kind of the point. He is now older, he is stronger. He has taken on this different role, so he's gotten more powerful.
See, I think another reason why X-Men 97 did so well, because you mentioned the fact that he's older and stuff, is the fact that a lot of people that watched this are people that grew up with the cartoon, with X-Men Evolution, with the X-Men movies, where they're always students, they're always kids, they're always young. This isn't the case. Half of them are older. They're more mature now. They're better, they're whatever the case may be. And we're growing up with that. So, we get to see cool scenes, like you said, he's more stronger now, he knows what he's doing better.
Yeah, I completely agree. I find it funny. Xander finally now started watching 97. I could have kicked his butt. And he came to me.
Xander?
I know, right? My kid just now watching 97. And he came to me. He's like, Dad, I don't know how I feel about Cyclops saying to me, my X-Men. And I'm like, oh, just wait.
See, I don't mind him saying to me my X-Men, because it's almost like, and this is a really bad example because you don't like Rocky or, Tommy being the leader, but it's almost like passing the torch. It's like when we have these Rangers going, it's Morphin time, or, for example, we've got Sam Wilson being Captain America in Captain America 4. It's stuff like that. It's like passing the torch. Xavier's air quotes dead in the first half. So.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And him to say to me, my X-Men, it still makes sense because he is now in charge of them. Yes, he was always their field leader, but he is now the leader.
Yeah, and it's almost, that scene is almost like X-Men's trying to say, things are different now.
This is not your X-Men from the kids.
Yeah, this isn't a case of Professor Xavier's around with the nice gentle voice, being the voice of reason. Nah, that isn't this right now. This is Scott Summers who's gonna fuck up, he's gonna make mistakes. And he's also a badass, by the way. He can save himself from falling, 100 feet in the air. This is different now. It's almost like it's warning us of, by the way, you know nothing because we're going to get Scott to say the phrase. Which, by the way, is memed all over the place. I've seen so many things of people like, well, Avengers Assemble is the better quote. No, to me, my X-Men is the better quote.
I mean, here's the question, and I would have to do the research. I don't know if you have. Which came first? Did we get our X-Men first, or did we get our Avengers first? I'm pretty sure we got X-Men first. So that would mean that the quote would make more sense. Being better.
I don't know which one came... I don't actually... when it comes to the actual teams... I'm think
sure we had X-Men before. We might be close, but I don't know.
I think X-Men was the tester for Avengers. I think Stanley wanted to do a team. I could be completely wrong, by the way, but I think they wanted to do teams because they had such success with the first Hulk comic, the first Iron Man comic, and stuff like that. And Stanley always wanted to do the whole let's do. Not racism, that's the wrong sentence, but let's do social democracy without doing social democracy. Hence why 90% of the time, X-Men are always hated, and mutants are always the bad guys, So socialism bans them as the villains.
Did you watch that video I sent a while back to the group chat that Stanley's talking about it? He does say that it was somewhat about racism. He wanted to shine a light on the fact that this is out there.
Yeah, this is why, Stanley was very clever when it comes to making characters, because he also, hence why Spider-Man's always a nerdy kid, because he wanted to socialize on bullying, and he wanted to show off that, hey, nerds are people, by the way, hence why Spider-Man's always a nerdy little kid in school.
See, something I used to always tell people, and I to this day will still preach on that. One of the things that makes Spider-Man such a popular character is the fact that he's a nerd, and he gets the hot chick. He gets the model.
Yep.
And yet he's a nerd. Wait a minute, this isn't social norm here. Mary Jane should have ended up with Flash Thompson, but yet she gets Peter Parker.
Which one thing I absolutely love about this X-Men 97, I'm just gonna call it 97 because it's just easier, is the fact that you look at the main cast, you look at your main roster, characters are almost in every episode. It's so diverse. There's one of everybody. You've got Jubilee, who's like, your teenage delinquent. She wears what the fuck she wants to wear. She don't fucking care what you think. She don't give a flying toss. She's a badass motherfucker. But she's lovely though. She's a sweetheart. You've got your romantic couple who are, no offense, very generic in character. Jean Grey and Scott Summers. But then you've got your I'm a hard ass, leave me alone. Nobody loves me. I don't love anybody. Wolverine. And then you've got you've got the one person who can't be touched, which is poetic in itself because there are people who truly believe that nobody wants them. Characters who truly believe. Oops, I just hit my microphone. That's clever. People who truly believe that they're gonna die alone. They should be alone, whatever the case may be. And Rogue just represents that full through because that's her ability. And you can take it as just everyone's diverse, or you can get into the nitty gritty and look how diverse it is. Look at Storm. You've got a badass motherfucking chick. She's dark skinned, and yet she is a lot of the time considered second leader in a lot of X-Men. She's considered like if Scott's not around,
she's considered. She is. It's stated in the cartoon that Storm is the second in command. If Scott's not around, she's second.
Which, can I just say, I love Storm. I think Storm's like I always change. I always sit there and go, oh, who's my favorite X-Men other than Wolverine? Because obviously Wolverine's my goat. He's my boy. And I'm always thinking, oh, who would be next? Like, who? I don't know. And yeah, it quite often changes from Nightcrawler to Storm, and I'm really glad we got some Storm action in this. I'm so fucking glad Storm had some highlights. She's such a cool character. The movies have done her dirty every single time, so I'm so glad she had some fucking, decent representation, and they did a lot with Storm this season.
Yes, they did. See, I've always loved Storm. But you know who my two favorites are. They're Gambit and Rogue, hands down, always have been, always will be.
Yes.
But I actually fell in love with a Storm ship through the cartoon, which was Wolverine and Storm. Because, during Age of Apocalypse or Days of Future Past, they're a couple. Yeah, it's Days of Future Past. They're a couple. And I just loved it. So I was always, anytime I wrote it, that's where I was going to go with it. And then they introduced her and Forge, and I'm like, well, shoot! This is adorable! So now what am I going to do? Who am I going to put Wolverine with? So I'm like, well, shoot.
Yeah, with Storm just like, I don't know. I don't even know what makes me love Storm. I think it's because she's such a badass, but yet she's one of the most gentlest people ever. Like, just look at the way that she hangs out with Rogue. The scene that she comes back. She's been gone for a while. She comes back. The very first thing that happens is she hugs a bunch of people. She's just loving in every sense until she reaches her pissed off point to you cross the line, and then she snaps, and then she's just like the baddest motherfucker there.
Out of a group dynamic, I'd have to classify her as the heart of the group.
Yes,
she is the one that cares the most, and she loves the most. But if you mess with her family, heaven help you.
Yes. It's a case of, she's like the mother hen almost. She's loving, she's caring, she'll look after you. But then if you fuck around, you're fucked.
You find out.
Yes.
Literally, if you fuck around, you find out. You find out why Storm is a goddess. Literally known as a goddess. You find out why.
So I'm just going to say spoiler warning from here on out. From this mark on, we'll get into the nitty-gritty stuff. We'll be talking about specific scenes, specific dialogue, specific fight scenes, everything that happens from this point onward. If you have not watched all of X-Men 97, from episode 1 all the way to the last episode, then yeah, now is your cut-off point, because we are now going to get to specific like details and things like that. So this is your one and only, like, I'm just gonna put here spoiler warning sort of thing. So I have
Here
to
we go.
mention this because obviously the when I first watched this, I knew for a fact you'd message because we have a dad group chat now. And can I just say, right? One of my favorite things with X-Men '97, and this is going to sound like a really daft thing to say, but one of my favorite things with X-Men '97 is me and Willy are in a dad group chat. There are 3 other people.
Here we go.
All 3 of them actually been on the podcast, and every single week we just chat about X-Men '97. That's literally all we did. We'd all go X-Men '97. And then 1 or 2 of us, mainly being me, would go, hang on, we haven't watched it. And then as soon as everyone's watched it, we just all geek out about it. And the second I saw this scene, I was like, yeah, Willy's not gonna be happy. And then I think your exact words were, Gambit, send message, and then I think the next question was, what the hell do they do to my boy? Next message. And it's because obviously we lose Gambit, and it was a fucking episode, man. Like,
let's just say that, to start off with, before we get to what you're talking about, they did him dirty to begin with Magneto showing back up. Come on.
Yes.
What they led into with Magneto and Rogue just, it broke my heart, my poor boy. The scene where, he's standing outside Magneto's office he's off to the corner, and Rogue leaves Magneto's office, and he drops the Queen of Hearts. My heart broke. I was like, I'm so sorry, Gambit. I'm so sorry. Because the Queen of Hearts is the card he designated to Rogue because it's his lucky lady, the one that gets him out of all kinds of jams.
Yep.
And when he dropped it, I just was like, I'm gonna cry now. And then to build up to her saying all they're ever gonna be, come on, the scene where they're in his room and they're talking, how you could have a dry eye, I don't know, because the feeling.
It was a build-up. Like, the entire episode was good. We start off with, we had Genosha, which was really cool to see. They brought Nightcrawler back, which was awesome, because, I love my boy Kurt, and stuff like this. And then you had this tension building with Gambit and Rogue. And whilst watching this episode, you kind of sat there thinking, they'll be fine by the end of this. They'll be okay. They're guarantee now this whole, fight between them is going to be, resolved near the last fight scene of the last episode. It's that type of story. Yeah, okay, fuck. It's all turntable, bro. Literally, you get U-turned so fucking hard, and you don't even see it coming either. You don't even see it coming.
So yeah, I was so mad because, she goes to the party, she's dancing with Magneto. I'm pissed. I'm like, she chose him. What the hell are they doing? Why are they doing this to me? And then she says to Magneto, he was right. Sometimes it's not about the physical contact. And I was like, thank you, Jesus. Yep. She's come to her senses. Thank you. And then the attack happens. I'm like, okay, cool. We'll get to see Gambit in action. She'll work with him. It shows how great of a team they are. And then the skewer. And then boom. And I'm like, no.
Yep.
No. This is not allowed. But come on, can we not just marvel over the most iconic line he has ever said? Come on.
Where he goes,
the name is Gambit. Remember it. And
then blows up biggest.
Yes!
Which gets such a good send-off at the end of the series where Rogue comes flying and his name was Gambit, and just smacks him one and sends him fucking flying. I was like, yes, Carol, you go. You revenge him, let's do it.
I will say that one thing I loved most about most of this season is almost every episode there was one-liner that just was brilliant. Because I'm not a Magneto fan, we all know this. Especially after what they just did with Magneto and Rogue. Okay, yeah. And the fact that Magneto gets to live kind of still irritates me. But when he says to Charles, I've been waiting years to say this. Shut up! I was like, yes! I mean, come on, that was just another chef's kiss right there.
See,
The line.
the episode where Gambit dies, it isn't just the fact that Gambit dies. It shows off quite a few things. Like that, I think it's actually my favorite episode because you have scenes
Figures.
like it has scenes like Magneto trying to save people. You know, you actually have Magneto panicking. That boy is sweating buckets because he's trying to save mutants. And okay, yeah, don't get me wrong, Magneto's whole thing is mutants are better than humans, you know, Charles is nuts because he thinks they can coexist, all that jazz. But very rarely do we actually see Magneto trying to save them, like, in a panic. And I think that's actually one of the best Magneto scenes, where, like, you know, he's trying to, like, he's wrapped everyone in, like, you know, he's encased themselves, he's trying to save people, and then the little dude hugs him, and he's like, oh, you know, we'll be safe, you know, he'll save us. But, yeah, explosion. They're fucked. And it's just like, okay, I know.
Magneto looking at Leech, that's
Leech,
the little guy's name, is
thank
Leech.
you, Leech. Yeah, thank you.
And I only know for two reasons. One, I've used the character before in other things. And two, I was just watching the episode where the Morlocks came in original X-Men, like literally earlier today.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, when he looks over at Leech, I'm like, oh no.
And it's just like
Leech, that's hard too. Because Leech is a cool character.
Like, and it's just like, again, this is where I don't care about the animation, because you could see they did a really good job of making Eric look in pain, not physically, but emotionally wounded when he's looking down at Leech, and he knows for a fact they're all going to die. He knows for a fact Leech is not going to survive this. And you can see the look on his face. And it's just like, I actually got taken back a bit by that scene too. I was like, holy fuck, I actually feel bad for Eric. Like, I actually feel, I'm feeling emotions for the bad guy here. What the fuck is going on? You know, and were you annoyed that Eric survived, or were you alright that Magneto was like, you know, just still around?
How do I word this? I wasn't upset that, you know, Eric survived, because I know he had to play a bigger role. But, on the same note, my boy is not back.
Wow.
That's what annoyed me. Yes. That let's not get to the season finale yet, because we got a lot of episodes to cover here. But yes, that cutscene. Oh, I am ecstatic about that.
But yes, when it comes to Gambit's death, you know, I think, and the thing is as well, I don't think when it comes to a cartoon, and that, at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a cartoon.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think when it comes to a cartoon, a scene has been re-uploaded on TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram, wherever the fuck you upload your shorts and shit. I don't think a scene has been uploaded more. I have seen that scene on TikTok, God knows how many times, and to this day, X-Men, you know, finished like 2 weeks ago by this point. You know, I'm still seeing that scene where Gambit died, by the way, on TikTok and stuff like that. People are still sharing it around. It's still breaking people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just
it was just such a powerful scene, though.
Yes, and especially if you watch the whole episode, you know, the argument between Gambit and Rogue, you know, the dance, the scene that I was like, can I bitch smack someone now, is the scene where she dances with Magneto, and they're like, you know, floating up and they're dancing and shit, and I'm just like, can I bitch smack them? Can I actually knock their heads together? What the fuck are you two doing?
Yeah.
You know, just like, no, stop it, stop dancing, stop it, no, stop twirling, I don't care, fuck off. I don't like it. And then, you know, you got Gambit just like, yeah, Gambit's, the fact that it also shows how strong he is as well. You know, we all know Gambit can turn anything into an explosive. That's his ability. That's the easiest way to explain it anyway. He can turn anything into an explosive.
Yes.
And the fact that, you know, he throws playing cards, he's got his bow staff, he swings that around. There's a few things also that he's also turned into an explosive here and there, and things like that. In one of the comic books, he picks up a car door and charges that and throws it, you know, stuff like this. He's done cool things. But that robot was huge. That thing was obliterating an island at the end of the day, and he got penetrated, man. This guy's dying. He's got a thing through the side of him. He's bleeding. He's not going to live. And he manages to blow that thing up.
Well, here's the thing that a lot of people, and I know I've said it to you before, I think, do not realize Gambit technically was an Omega class mutant.
Yeah.
He actually went to Sinister and asked for a surgery to lessen his power because it was too out of control. He accidentally kills his would have been brother-in-law. Now this is all in the comics. It didn't actually happen in the cartoon, but this is what I'm basing their movements off of. So he actually is a high-level power mutant. So when the kinetic energy started pouring out of him, I was like, oh, we're going to see his true potential. How much he can actually charge. And to charge that massive thing, yeah, that took power.
Yep. And it's like, it's just a case of, with Gambit though, it's always a case of, we know, a lot, if you're a fan of the comics and stuff, we know how good Gambit can be, but we never see it. They never actually truly display how strong he is because, sadly, when it comes to X-Men comics and stuff, Gambit usually only gets sidelined or he gets his own comic run, one of the two. There's not a huge demonstration of his power in an X-Men story. So the fact that we had a whole scene where, and like I said, this guy's been stabbed. Even if, let's just say that robot went, yeah, fuck you, and flung him away. He's got a big gaping hole in his side. This boy ain't surviving. I'm sorry, there's not a mutant out there at that time in the world of X-97 that could have saved him. He's fucked. And he's bleeding to death, and he knows that he's gonna die, so he just goes, yeah, fuck you. And like you said, that last sentence just was the cherry on top. He's just like, it's a huge middle finger to the bad guy. Like, do you know what? Yeah, fuck you. You're fucking with Gambit here. And then just the whole thing just explodes. And, we have Eric almost dying, because I'm going to say almost, because technically speaking, he doesn't die. And, we have Leech that does die. We also have the whole thing of the other Jean Grey. She also dies, and things like this. Madeline Pryor.
Well, real quick, just touching back on Gambit, a thing to remember with Gambit 2, and why that scene was so impactful is Gambit's whole thing is he's paying for the crimes he's done in the past.
Yes. Yep.
He was a thief to begin with. He was part of the Thieves Guild, so he's done a lot of bad. He was also part of the massacre of the Morlocks. So he's trying to atone. And just for him to be like, okay, this is it. I've done what I can do. As long as Rogue is going to be safe, I'm good. I can finish this.
Yep. Yeah, and it's just like, especially even though, and this is I think where they did it really well. According to Gambit, up until that point, he doesn't have Rogue. Rogue, basically said, look, I need the physical touch. I need to be, with someone who I can, I can put my hand on and not try to kill them. And he sees them dancing. That's where Gambit stood. He's like, he sees them dancing, and he knows that he'd always loved Rogue, but to him, Rogue's a Magneto at that moment in time. Even though that happens to Gambit emotionally, he just got punched in the heart big time. He's still willing to go, yeah, do you know what? Fuck you, I'm gonna protect her. And that just proves how good hearted Gambit is, even though, like you said, he's been he wasn't great in the past. He's atoning for his sins and things like this, and it's just, Gambit was written perfectly, like to a T. Can we just quickly mention Gambit's outfit choice that everyone decided to blow up on the internet?
My God, yes.
I don't understand what the problem was.
Everybody's saying how he was woke because he's wearing that outfit. Dude, it's the 90s. Hello.
See, right? This is the funny thing, though. Right? I actually brought this up with I think it was Jonathan. I think I brought up with was the fact that he was wearing a crop top like thing, but this is literally called X-Men '97. It's in the name. It's 1997 in this X-Men universe. It's 1997. Yeah, that happened a lot back then. People wore, men wasn't wearing, jeans and, big leather jackets or anything, or you were wearing stuff like that, or, you were dressed in a suit. It was the 90s. You got away with a lot more. It wasn't woke at all. They just got it yearly accurate for once.
Yeah, and well, let's face the fact too. Gambit's wasn't one of your straight shooter dressers like Scott Summers.
Yeah, exactly.
He had his own style. He was a Cajun. That was his style. So, yeah, when I saw that go through the internet, I was just like, "Are you kidding me, people? Pay attention."
Yeah.
You're complaining to complain about something.
Everyone's there like, it's they're trying to make Gambit woke, blah blah. I'm like, no, maybe just for once they realize they're in a time frame where they can get people to wear other things.
Well, the funny thing is, go back and look in the comics. He's worn them in the comics.
No, Gambit wears a lot of, like, when you take him out of his usual getup, his usual, like, brown jacket, that sort of stuff. You take him out of his usual getup, he wears quite, I'm not going to use the word outstandish, but, like, he uses very unique clothes. He's got, like you said, he's got a unique sense of style. And it's just like, apparently now, though, you can't wear a unique sense of style because the internet will just deem you woke.
Well, here's the funny thing. We're talking about how he's wearing a crop top. Nobody brings up the facts that Beast runs around in his underwear.
Yeah, that's very true. This is what people don't understand, right? I actually saw people arguing about this as well. Beast is furry, and so is Nightcrawler.
Yes.
Which a lot of people think he's blue-skinned. He's not. It's blue fur.
No, it's fur.
Yeah, I had an argument with someone about that literally today. People were like, Nightcrawler's blue skin, Mystique. I was like, no, he's not. Nightcrawler's not. And it's like, he's fucking blue. I was like, yeah, he's blue. He's not blue skinned. It's fur, you fucking muppet. It was actually mentioned in X-Men multiple times throughout the comics. X-Men Evolution. When you stroke him, it feels like leathery, velvety sort of feeling when you stroke him because he's furry. Not like, it annoys me when people get things wrong. But like, you've got Beast running around in a pair of shorts 90% of the time. Sometimes he wears a suit. We have seen him in a suit or like his lab coat. Stuff like that. But yeah, he's literally running around in a pair of shorts half the time. And then you've also got like, Wolverine always. I don't understand this. I saw several posts about the fact that for a man who's like in triple digits when it comes to his age, let's be honest, he's like Wolverine's quite an old bastard. Apparently he's wearing the wrong clothes. I was like, no, he's not. He's always worn things like vests and a pair of jeans, or his big like winter jacket that he quite often wears and stuff like this. And I'm like, how's he wearing the wrong clothes? I'm confused on where you're getting your information from. Have you not seen Wolverine in the comics? Like, this man wears less on the top half and a pair of jeans 90% of the time because he heals. He doesn't want to. He has stated before, what's the point in dressing nice? Because he's just going to get his clothes stained because everyone shoots him.
Yeah. Fair.
Ooh.
I mean,
talking about clothes, we did kind of get some very cool, original X-Men suits, which I'm glad about. They one thing I love about having animation as a thing, and I'm so glad animations come back when it comes to superhero stuff. We get to see them in their like original outfits. Wolverine's wearing the yellow, and stuff like this. Because obviously with films, sometimes they change it just because they can't be arsed. Sometimes it wouldn't make sense. Things like that. There are reasons, but with a cartoon, you can get away with it. Scott Summers is dressed in that, a gimp outfit, I guess you would call it, if it wasn't an X-Men suit. Gambit gets to wear his brown coat, which he's very iconic for. Wolverine's in the yellow, which I'm so glad about. I'm so glad that Wolverine had his original suit. So happy, because that's his suit, man.
Yeah. Well, technically his yellow and brown suit is his suit, because the one they put him in at the end, where they go and face Magneto, that's his technical suit. The yellow and black is newer. That was Golden Age.
Yeah, but like you know, a lot of times when we see Wolverine now in most media, when it comes to like the movies and stuff, he's not wearing it. That's what I'm on about. Like, I'm glad they decided to go with the fact of, hey, let's put them in their suits. Let's do that.
Well, and people haven't really touched on it, but Rogue's green outfit that she was wearing was actually her original outfit.
Yep.
I know everybody commented on Storms, commented on Cyclops, commented on Jean Grey's and Wolverine's, but hey, let's go back here a second. Rogue's is her original outfit. That's the one she told. If you read the comic, that's the one she was wearing when she steals Miss Marvel's powers.
Yep. Which a lot of people confuse that. So many people watch X-Men and don't know what the hell. My mate James is even like, hang on, how can Rogue fly? I had to explain to him how Rogue can fly. I was like, dude, what the fuck are you watching X-Men 97 for?
Yeah, come on.
Like, Rogue can fly for a reason. She doesn't, like, because me and James were in a conversation about how, there are some mutants who get additional abilities. For example, Logan had his bone claws, but he can also heal. And things like this, Jean is telekinetic and telepathic, and stuff. And then James went, and obviously Rogue can touch people and fly. I went, no, she just touches people. And he was like, but she can fly. I was like, yeah, because she touched someone. He's like, did she? I was like, yeah, bro. He was like, he was a bit dumbfounded that, and that's when he clicked on that she can touch other people, not just mutants. I was like, yeah. Like, Rogue's dangerous to loads of people.
Yeah, Rogue's abilities are not... Technically, her secondary abilities aren't human abilities.
No, yeah, exactly.
They're Shi'ar... No, not Shi'ar. Kree. Yeah, they're Kree.
But, yeah, I don't know. I think when it comes to, like, the fact that we saw their suits, and we saw their, like, OG suits as well, which, Jim and Billy were kind of thrown off about as well. Jared even brought up in the Discord. They had a proper conversation about it, the fact that for the last, last three-parter, we saw them in their proper OG outfit, like, where they started. Which I didn't really mind. I mean, if you think about it, their house just got blew up by that point, so it makes sense that they kind of went back to the OG wear. I thought it was cool, actually, not gonna lie.
Here's a weird thing, though. Why was the OG wear at Muir Island?
Yeah, that's one thing I did think of. Where did you get this from?
Why are you storing your old clothes at Muir Island? I'm a little confused on that one.
So, question: Storm's white outfit or Storm's black outfit?
Oh, see, that's hard because I know both of them so well. If I have to choose, I'd have to say I love her black outfit, her goddess outfit. I'm sorry. I know I grew up watching her white outfit, but her goddess outfit with the mohawk, it's just so comic book.
Did you see my joke I made when that episode came out where Storm forms her own outfit?
No, I missed it.
I said in the group chat that Elsa's a copycat bitch because Storm was doing it first.
Nice. Yeah, I missed that, but that's truth right there.
Elsa's a copycat because Storm was doing it back in the 90s. But fucking, let's, I think we had 10 episodes, and one of my favourite things, and I didn't actually click on this until someone else said it on a different podcast, we only had half an episode that was filler. Every single episode was a continuous story, except for half an episode, which, if you look at the title, is actually dubbed, it's the Jubilee going into the video game. That
I was going to say, don't diss that episode. That was
no, I'm not dissing. No, I'm not dissing at all. I'm just saying it's classed as filler. But if you think about it, it's only half an episode because if you look at the title to that episode, it's Jubilee. It's whatever it is for Jubilee. Then it's a line, and then it's Storm Section Part 2. It's actually the sequel to the Storm episode. So basically, is it Part 1? I thought it was Part 2.
No, Xander, just watch this episode. It's the Jubilee part, and then part 1. Part 2 has a full episode.
Fair enough. But it's basically the creators went, we can't give too much away. We kind of planned everything. How do we fill up this episode? And then they went, all right, let's actually give a reason for when Roberto goes to Magneto's side. Let's actually make it impactful. Let's actually have Roberto and Jubilee hang out for a bit. And they just gave Jubilee, which I don't even class it as filler. So many people do, but I'm like,
let's break this down. Is it really filler, though? Let's break it down. Because it's your podcast, so let's break it down. You can't really classify it as filler due to the fact that it was building Jubilee's character.
See, I never classed it as filler because in my head, it did two things. One, showed off Jubilee's skill now. In the X-Men storyline, it's been a year. Jubilee, when she first came into the X-Men, was the person who got recruited. So we get to see how badass she is now. She's quite an independent character. She holds her own. But it also kind of builds that little friendship she gets with Roberto, because we get then later on down the line the scenes where, Roberto kind of gets alienated for being a mutant in his own family, and then you have the scene where Magneto goes, "Hey, come to me, or come to my side." Roberto's like, "Yeah, okay." And then you got the end scene where Roberto's like, "No, I've got to save Jubilee," and he does. It's almost like the domino effect. It's like the little flick of the first domino, and that's how I see it. It kind of did two things, and it did it very well. I don't see it as a filler whatsoever. I think it did a very good job at working on Jubilee.
Yeah, I agree with you completely, everything you said, because we get to see how much powerful Jubilee is now. Because let's face it, those attacks are not her typical fireworks from when we watched X-Men.
Yep.
I mean, she basically makes a black hole.
Yeah, she is so much stronger in this. When the final fight where everyone kind of teams up together, and they're fighting, what's his name?
Mojo.
Yeah. She's stronger there. The fight scene in the last three-parter, you can see that her firework-esque is now more of a direct rocket shot instead of what it used to be in the original cartoon. It's almost like she did precision training, almost. But I don't even see it as filler, and then it's only for half an episode as well, because the other half is for Storm. It's not even like you're wasting 30 minutes. You're only really wasting 12 to 15.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call it a waste either, because it was a really good episode.
I wouldn't call it a waste at all, because you have this build up, because like we agreed, when it comes to the theme song that comes in, Roberto's now the one being hunted in the scenes. He's now the one that needs saving. And I think it's just people being nitpicky, to be honest, because people now just automatically assume that TV shows have to have filler. It's a cartoon as well, so it'll follow the anime trope. It has to have filler. I'm like, but no, it doesn't, because X-Men did 10 episodes. Each episode ran for about 30 minutes-ish, which I'm glad it was 30 minutes and not 20, by the way. All episodes are about 30 minutes. And I like that. They're not 20 minutes like a normal kid's cartoon either. I'm glad about that. But you got 10 episodes, they're all connected. I'd say about 8 of them literally leave you fuck, no, why is the credits on the screen? Give me back the X-Men! What are you doing? I have to wait 7 days! About 8 episodes make you feel like that, which, by the way, for me, I was hating it. I was like, ugh. But, I prefer watching shows like this. I prefer watching shows week by week. To this day, I still have not watched the live-action version of Avatar: The Last Airbender, which, by the way, is one of my favourite cartoons. I still have not watched it because they dropped all 8 episodes at once. My ADHD doesn't like it when that happens, so the fact that...
Or just watch an episode a day.
Literally, Disney do it, so it's every single week. I'm glad about that, because I got to sit and enjoy it. And, like I said, one of my favourite things is it gave us our dad group chat something to talk about for about 2 days straight every single week. From Thursday to about Saturday, that's all us dads would talk about. And I was like, it just gave us something to do. We all are dads, we all have families, there's crap that goes on, but we all had this one thing that kind of just distracted us and kind of just brought us together for 2 days, and we geeked out about it proper, and things like this. And it's just I enjoyed that aspect too, the fact that we got something to geek over. And my friend James, he's a big Marvel fan, so me and him geeked over about it too. So it's just I don't think a Marvel TV show has done this in a very long time. Brought people together, got people talking. You know, Gambit died, Leech died. We had Storm losing her powers, and then Magneto's alive. By the way, he's not dead. You know, it just every single time an episode ended, it was just a case of, hello, why is there credits on my screen? Why aren't you continuing? You know, you felt kind of like almost like you're being cheated on or something. It's like, no, what are you doing? It was just like,
leave me, come back.
Yeah, the Zero Hero Discord kept on bringing it up, and you know, it was just everyone was talking about it. If you're a geek of any type, you were talking about X-Men '97. It did such a good job at roping in a community, and animation. You know, the sub group for Marvel, the animation team, doesn't seem like they're stopping. We've got a couple of cartoons coming out now. What If Season 3, we've got a new Spider-Man, we've got a new Wakandan show, you know, there's quite a few things. And it's just like, I'm kind of here for it, to be honest, if it's going to be as good as 97.
But the big question is, when is 97 coming back?
Well, I mean, apparently they're already working through it. You know, by the time we got the last episode, they were already halfway through Season 2.
I saw a thing yesterday on either X or Facebook, I can't remember which one it was, that said that the release date actually might have got pushed up because there's been such a demand for it.
Yep, yeah, it's one of the most requested Disney shows of all time. So
question for you, because we brought her up remotely, Madeline Pryor, the Goblin Queen.
Yes.
What was your first response when the other Jean Grey showed up at the door?
Well, I kind of knew the storyline, not fully, but I kind of, like, understood, like, you know, that there are two Jeans, it's happened before, and, like, I didn't know she's called the Goblin Queen, but I did kind of know that one of them, I can't remember how I know this, but I knew one of them ended up being, like, Cable's mum, the other one kind of wasn't, sort of scenario. So when she turned up at the door, I was like, okay, that's gonna be interesting to see, because, you know, they've done this sort of story before. You know, again, it was one of those times where I'm like, why are the credits on screen? Fuck off, give me back the X-Men. I need to know why there are two Jeans. Go away, you know. But it also kind of implemented, you know, Mr. Sinister, you know, because at that point, we hadn't really seen much of him. He hadn't been on the screen that long. If he's just in the background, sort of thing, a bit of a tease more than anything else. And you then have this, you know, two Jeans. One of them just had a baby, by the way. You know, just dropping that. You know, one of them just had a kid with Scott. So I think
delivered by Rogue, we might add, delivered by Rogue.
Which, can I just say, that was sick. I'm sorry, no, I have to bring up that scene. That is such a good representation of what Rogue can do, because a lot of people assume she kills people instantly because of the movies, which ruined Rogue. In the films, obviously, you know, she kisses the boy and he dies instantly. That's what happens. But everyone assumes that's all she does. No. She could become the smartest woman alive. She could solve math problems if she wanted to. She could learn how to fly a helicopter. You know, there's so much shit she can do. She just chooses not to, obviously, because she doesn't want to hurt people. But, like, you know, she can do incredible stuff. And I just love the scene where she just turns to the doctor's like, yeah, sorry, and just touches him. And then she delivers a bait. I was like, yes, bro, go on. Well, let's go. You know, I was chuffed with the idea that, you know,
it was a cool scene, but take a beat as an adult and think about the scene itself. That doctor, which took a Hippocratical oath, as a medical professional myself, I know these things, refusing to take care of Jean because she's a mutant. That just, that's one thing I'll say X-Men 97 did really well too, is it wasn't our children problems anymore. These were real life problems nowadays.
Yeah. It's very true. Like, this isn't a kid show. This isn't, like, it's not aimed at, you know, Logan, you know, Minnie. It's not aimed at them. This is aimed at us fans. You know, this is aimed at, you know, the older generations, which I'm glad about, to be honest. But yeah, no, you got a point. You know, with the fact that Jean was literally sweating her ass off going into labour, and then you'd have this doctor like, nah, I don't think I want to. And then Rogue's like, yeah, do you know what? Shut up, let me touch you for a second. Let me understand this. And like, then we had the little kid, you had baby Nathan.
Which was cool to see.
Honestly, right, now, Mark did the clever thing. Mark watched all of X-Men, the original show, before he watched X-Men 97. I didn't do that. Maybe I should have. But when Nathan was born, I remembered, I was like, hang on, they never did Cable properly in the original cartoon. They never explained where he came from.
Nope.
What he, who he, I was like, oh my god, I forgot they never did that. So I was kind of glad they kind of brought that around and kind of, because, again, Cable's well known for being on Deadpool 2, but it's never explained who the fuck he is,
The only thing they did in the original cartoon that even hinted at the fact that he was Scott. Now, if you weren't a fan, you didn't know this, but when he's in the hotel room, scanning through the different X-Men to get infected with the virus that Wolverine gets infected with, the computer stops on Scott Summers and Jean Grey, and he's like, I don't need to know anything about them. I know everything about them already. That's it. That's the only line we get that he knew these guys. And now we're seeing how that all came about.
Yeah. Which, okay, out of all of the deaths that happen, on the episode where Gambit dies, I think Madeline's the only one that, I cared, but I wasn't like...
Yeah.
I was like, alright, she died, alright, that's a bit sad, but I'm glad that it happened, because then we had that scene where, Cable kind of has to come to the realization that, Jean looks like Madeline. He had to deal with that, and stuff like this. And you had the really amazing little scene where Jean and Cyclops kind of telepathically talk to Cable. Cable's in the diner, his arm's a bit fucked. They had that conversation, and I'm like, without Jean, Cable would never hear those words. Without Jean, Cable would never have heard Scott say that. And he had to accept this.
Well, when Cable... I think Cable came to realization in the scene before his arm got ripped off that Jean and his mom are the same, because she has all his mom's memories. It's just she came out of Madeline's womb.
Because she said it, didn't she? She said to Cable, I remember being pregnant with you. I remember going through labor with you. I remember these things,
Yeah.
And I'm now excited to see, some form of relation build between Jean and Cable. More so Jean and Cable, because I feel like when it comes to Scott and Cable, it's always going to be a case of, that's my dad. My dad's the leader. I'm going to listen to him. Where do you want me? I'm a soldier sort of relationship, with every now and then touching moments where Scott does, soften a little bit and go, I love you, kid. We're good.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. Where Jean... he had that mentality of, no, Madeline was my mum. Madeline died. You're not my mum. But now he's come to that realization. I'm looking forward to seeing how that goes into season 2. I'm now looking forward to that relationship build.
Especially with that end scene where they're in the future and it's young Nathan. So it's like, okay, that's cool. Let's see where this goes.
See, again... going back into the whole Jubilee's half episode was a fucking story filler argument. I think when it comes to that scene there, I think they're being smart with it. I think they have an idea for Apocalypse. It's not filling their episode quota. And instead of stretching Apocalypse all the way through, making him washed out, making it too long, whatever the case may be, they've used their brain and gone, hang on a minute, what can we do here that's impactful, that's story-driven, that works, and we can connect to Apocalypse in some way? And they've gone, well, hang on a minute, we can do something with Nathan, air quotes, now going to be Cable in the future. Let's do something with this. And I think it's going to work really well. I think, especially with the idea, because everyone keeps that this is the ongoing idea, that when it comes to, because obviously we spoiler warning for the last 2 seconds of X-Men, Magneto, Xavier, and their little team that are way back when, they meet Apocalypse before he's dubbed Apocalypse.
Thor.
Yeah, everyone's idea now is that when they're pulled back through time, they're going to leave a moment that cripples him in a way that makes him become Apocalypse. So if that's true and they do go down that route, which by the way I'd be very happy for, that sounds pretty dope. You know, if they go through down that road, it would be very cool to see where Scott and Jean are in the future with young Nathan. What happens then when they get pulled back through time and get put into their present? What happens then? Will Cable remember something? Does Cable change at all? You know, because they're affecting the kids, future S-like thing. I'm very
Wibbly
intrigued.
wobbly.
Yeah, it's very. I don't understand how to word that. Okay,
It's very wibbly wobbly, man.
I'm very curious to see how that goes.
Well, here's the thing, and with Cable, you got to remember the first time you meet Cable in X-Men the cartoon, it's during the Genosha incident, and it doesn't really talk about what his big goal is. It just says, he was a mercenary, he worked for the leader, found out the leader was bad, now he wants to stop him. Great. But as the story goes along, you learn that Cable's whole shtick is stopping Apocalypse. That's his whole thing. So what is going to happen in that future timeline that Jean and Scott end up with young Nathan that turns him into the Apocalypse that we know?
Well, the theory is we'll actually see how he loses his arm.
Okay.
That's the theory.
Yeah. I was thinking, it was like, doesn't he have a robotic leg too, like Forge? But I don't remember.
I don't know. I think it's just his arm, isn't it?
I don't remember. I'd have to. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure. I know his arm. Yes, for sure, 100%.
Obviously, yeah, we see that get fucked.
Like off by Bastion.
Like that thing is like, he needs a new one now.
I think we got Forge around.
Yes, you mentioned Forge. Let's bring up that a minute. What was your reaction when it was actually Forge that helped Storm? Okay, I say help Storm. Storm got her powers back by herself. Let's be real. But it was Forge's
that found her.
Yeah, what was your little reaction to that?
I will be honest. It was nice seeing Forge get some light.
Yes.
The only other X-Men cartoon that I can recall that Forge gets any light is X-Men Evolution.
I believe you're correct, yes.
Because he does show up in X-Men, because you meet X-Factor, which is Havoc's team.
Yes.
Which they don't even touch on the fact that they're brothers, which pissed me off so much. And that's the only time you see Forge other than cutscenes and stuff like that. And so to have Forge here and see X-Factor on his wall, that was pretty cool. I won't lie, seeing the picture of X-Factor there. So you realize, okay, yes, this is the same Forge. And him to get some love was nice, because Forge's character is not... How do we put this? He's not as flashy as normal mutants.
Yeah, that's very true. He's one of the more... I think the word is grounded? Is that the right word? He's the one of the more grounded characters?
I guess.
He's not, jumpy, flashy, jump around, I'm a superhero type.
Yeah, his power does not allow him, in the normal sense, to be a superhero. Because his power is just he can think it and make it. Okay, well, a lot of people can do that.
Yeah, true.
But, yeah, to see him was pretty darn cool. I'm excited to see where they're going to go with him and Bishop, building this other team.
Which I love that scene. Forge's like, who are you? And Bishop's like, whoa, hang on, let's just cut the crap here.
Trust me, you know me, at least you will.
We're gonna be teammates, just stop, we're good, I already know how this is gonna play out.
You know what we need? This is gonna be terrible. We need the TARDIS to show up in each timeline just to help him out.
Don't give A-Crown any ideas.
Right. Hey, A-Crown, can you send the doctor to go get everybody?
But let's talk about the wall a minute. You mentioned the wall a minute ago. Let's talk about the wall.
Okay,
at the end,
hold on. You actually see something similar to that way before that wall. Do you realize that?
Please explain.
Okay. You didn't realize it. in Jubilee's episode, behind her in Roberto, and I think the first scene of the game, there is a poster on the wall that is a wanted poster that has those pictures on it.
Oh, yes, okay.
It's the same one from Future Day Past.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, no, I see.
I was like, I was wondering how many people actually caught that little detail, because I did when I saw it right away. I was like, that's from Future Day Past.
But yeah, let's talk about the wall a second. Forge's last scene in X-Men is he has this really big wall, and anyone who's been thrown across time, is presumed dead. Jubilee and Roberto are MIA. They're missing in action. That's like, or AWOL, I think it says. So it's
Polaris is off planet, I think it said.
Scarlet Witch is off world.
Oh, was it Scarlet Witch?
Yeah, Scarlet Witch is off world. But we also see characters like Iceman, his poster's up there. We've got Magic, her poster's up there, and they aren't labeled or anything.
We have Shadowcat, classic Shadowcat. I was like, oh, my heart.
I'm looking forward to it because X-Men aren't just 5 people, 6 people. This is one people that people have to realize that. I'm not talking about the X-Men team, I'm talking about the story. The story itself is not 6 or 7 people. Professor Xavier had a school for mutants. It's a school filled with people, Like, it's more than just Scott and Wolverine and Gambit. There are more than... Okay, yes, the main X-Men team are very limited sometimes, but depending on your, version of the team. But the X-Men story, the whole thing of, these people that are born different, they're trying to live among humans, but humans don't like that idea, or that crap, it's more than just who you see 90% of the time. There are other mutants out there, so I'm kind of glad they're reaching out to other characters that some people may know, some people might not know. I'm so glad fucking Iceman might actually be somewhere fucking finally.
I know,
Iceman's sick.
When I saw him, because again, the only other time I remember Iceman getting good love, because I won't count the movies, was Evolution. X-Men Evolution. He got some good love in that one because he became part of the team.
Yes.
Hell, that's right. In X-Men Evolution, we actually get an episode of the original class, where it's the original 5 working together. I loved that, even though they weren't technically the original 5 in that cartoon, but not the point. You see him in original X-Men also. He's in there for an episode. Because he gives Jubilee crap because she's the new kid. He was the new kid.
Yep.
Originally. He was the youngest one. Now it's Jubilee. And that's actually when we go and battle X Factor.
But yeah, with Forge's wall, it's almost like it's a tease, isn't it? Like you now see which characters in the different time zones. We have Jubilee and Roberto saying AWOL, which means they're not around. They've gone off, which would be interesting to see. I have a funny idea that it's gonna be like one of those things where they think they can go off and hide because, for Roberto's sake, because obviously his family kind of rejected him in a way. They try to hide him, shall I say? And Jubilee wants, after the events that just happened, Julie's a bit I wouldn't say fucked up, but maybe she's just a bit not in the right headspace. I think they're going to go down the route of they've gone off, they're in hiding, and then they realize they can't hide from this. They've got to go help, sort of storyline, which I'd be very happy for if they do, because, I'm cool with that. And then we have characters we haven't seen in the show yet, in this 97 show yet. Iceman, we had Magic, Scarlet Witch's posters up there, Polaris, we had Shadowcat. There's characters we have not seen, so it's almost like, oh, by the way, in the next, because they planned the next 2 seasons, it's just they're only now just wrapping up season 2, so it's by the way, in the next 2 seasons, you might run into these characters. It's just they're almost hinting without hinting.
Well, I think something like what you said a little bit ago is they're going to show the world that X-Men isn't just this one group. Just because you're an X-Men doesn't mean you stay with the X-Men. So we're going to see other X-Men. So I'm here for it. I'm excited.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the fact that they're kind of doing Apocalypse in this mature way, because obviously, let's be honest, 97 had a lot of mature stuff going on. I'm kind of glad they waited for 97. You know, I'm glad that it's not like a kids' cartoon. They're not doing the fucking film, for fuck's sake. That was terrible.
Oh god, that was terrible.
And I'm just glad that, like, and okay, even if they do change something, they'll make him right. You know, Apocalypse will be. This will be the closest thing to Apocalypse we could ask for. You know, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna be good.
Well, if you have not figured out yet what they're doing in season 2, we're looking at Age of Apocalypse.
Yes.
We're looking at AOA, and I am all in for this. Because we're going to see a young Apocalypse, we're going to see present Apocalypse, and we're going to see future Apocalypse. So we're going to get this massive thing. I'm excited because so many people do not realize this, and it irritates the heck out of me. Apocalypse is technically the first mutant. He was the first mutant ever. To this day, there are, from what I know, 2, now 3, because I didn't know about Magneto. 3 mutants that are actually really, really old. And that would be Apocalypse, Logan, and Magneto, because I didn't know about Magneto's powers.
Well, yeah, because Magneto came, you know, he came from the Wild War. Like, that is one thing the films did in a good way, was to symbolize how long Magneto's been around. You know, in the films, we had that scene where the kid gets dragged away and he's pulling the door open with his magnetic ability. That is actually a really good way to symbolize it. But yeah, he has a prison tattoo on his arm. You know, his number.
That little add-on that they did. Oh, that was beautiful. Because again, I just had restarted watching the original X-Men. They don't hint at that it was that he was in Germany during the World War. They don't say anything like that. All they say is his village was destroyed during a war. They don't hint at what war it was. But to add in the numbers in X-Men 97, tying into the whole he was a Jew and all that, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, with the original cartoon, though, that is aimed at children. You can't really sit there and go, oh, by the way, just let you know, they're in this terrifying war. You can't really do that, but in this, it's mature. It's aimed at us adults, in a way. So, like, yeah, they're able to do, you know, that sort of stuff. They're able to hint at that. And, like, you know, he had his tattoo, and, which I'm glad they did, to be honest, because that is...
So, we're talking about Magneto. Let's just bring up the trial of Magneto. That whole thing was just beautiful. You know, Magneto saying, you know what? Yes, I was bad. But my best friend challenged me. And I'm taking up his challenge. The scene where he has them over the earth and says, you know, I try to remember this view. I'm like, oh, I'm getting feelings for Magneto. What's going on here?
Like, honestly, the only time I sat there and thought, yeah, get this prick off the screen, is when he's still rogue. That's literally it. That's the only time I looked at Magneto and went, yeah, fuck off. Go away. Just leave. Go away. Stop being around. Just stop existing. Other than that, all the Magneto scenes were great. Magneto has done so goddamn well. And the fact that, like, it's little things like his outfit is different. When he's leading the X-Men, he's got a different outfit. So when he puts his helmet back on, you know it's fucking serious at that point. You know... Okay, so it's Eric throughout, you know, Eric leads the team, but when he puts his helmet back on, Magneto's back. You know, it's like almost like a different character almost. You know, it's like when a superhero gets a power up, you know, and it's just like, you know, shit's hit the fan.
Well, one thing they didn't touch on, that they did in the comics, was the reason he had the different suit was because he was trying to be a different man. He had his helmet still, and it sat on his desk as a reminder of who he was. So when he puts that helmet back on, puts back on that other suit, it's saying, okay, I tried it that way. We're going back to who I was.
And like, you know, I think one of my favorite things about the final 3-parter is Eric saving the thing from dropping into the planet, it's not a fight that comes to it. It's not a final fight. It's a mental battle within himself. Okay, yeah, Xavier's there. It's Xavier that pushes him along and helps him. But it's not like everyone's trying to kill Magneto and someone says to him, "Oh, you're trying to save mutants. You're about to kill all of them." He's like, "Okay, I'll say it." It's nothing like that. They could have done something like that, but they decided not to. That's very MCU movie-esque. They didn't do what everyone thought they'd do. It was a mental struggle within himself. He self-defeated himself. He had no self-worth. There was nothing left of him. And the scene where he's like, "You're Charles Xavier. I know who you," and I was like, "Yes, let's go." You know who you are, Eric. Do it. And then he just opened his eyes. He's out the ship. He's floating, and I'm like, "Yes, that was so good. That was just fucking phenomenal."
Yeah, I think throughout the season, throughout the next 2 seasons at least, we're gonna get an Eric that's torn.
Yeah, 100%.
Do I continue on this new path, this new journey of enlightenment, so to speak, or do I fall back into my old habits? And let's just clarify, at least in my standpoint, I don't know about you, Ty, so I won't say it. They're not in love.
Who?
Eric and Professor Xavier.
Oh, God.
I'm so tired of seeing that.
Right, okay, so this is the thing, right? And I have to bring this up, right? So, people say that Spider-Man cannot exist without Uncle Ben. This is why people don't like MCU Spider-Man, because we haven't seen the scene where Uncle Ben dies. And it's almost like it's a catalyst. It's like it's the go-to. And everyone's like, it's, it has to happen. Without Spider-Man, without Uncle Ben, there is no Spider-Man. And that is my argument when people go, "Oh, they belong together." No, you don't understand. Without one, that isn't the other. They had, and it literally, you see it just before Eric realizes he's not reliving his past. I thought it was a flashback. It wasn't.
Me too.
It was I honestly thought it was a flashback, and then I clicked on that. It was Xavier trying to rebuild his, trying to help. I was like, that's actually really cleverly done. But anyway, it's not a case of they're in love or anything like that. They do love each other in a brother sense. They even said, even though they have fought each other, their teams have fought each other, they're always going to be there for each other.
Yes, they're brothers.
They're brothers through and through. I swear to God, there's a comic book where one of them either gets cancer or one of them gets badly injured or something like that. And even though it's a mass war between the Brotherhood of Mutants and the X-Men, they still go to each other's side and I'm here for you sort of thing. It happens all the time. And that scene at the end, where just before he opens his eyes and he fucking saves the world from that thing falling, it's a case of Xavier's trying to remind Eric who he is.
Yes.
He's trying to remind him that way back when, and this is why we see that thing that everyone thought was a flashback. It's not a case of your idea is bad. Mutants will most probably overrule humans one day. That's the truth. But it's just Eric just went the wrong way about it. That's all. His idea is true, and Eric and Xavier started off trying to build a world where, mutants had a home. This is why Genosha exists. This is why the mutant school exists. They're trying to put places for mutants to be, safely and try to coexist with humans and all that jazz. It's just Eric goes the wrong way about. They have the same goal. It's just Eric goes through the dominant sense, not the let's be social sense like Xavier does. And it's just I don't understand why people start looking, they're gonna be in love like jazz. It's not a case of, yes, okay, they love each other, but it's a brotherhood. It's they're brothers through and through. There's gonna be respect, love, admiration for each other, because no one's like them. They came up with this idea together, and even though the X-Men fight the Brotherhood, Eric fights the X-Men and all this jazz, even though they do bad things and Xavier tries to do good things, they're always gonna be like that, no matter what. And I think that's what Xavier was trying to get to Eric. It's I'm around, I'm still here. You haven't lost me. And it's gonna be interesting for season 2.
Well, you said something that I really agree with and I really like, that their ideals are the same. They just go about it differently.
Yep.
And I think, like you said, I think that scene, that's what Xavier was trying to teach Eric, was like, look, we're doing the same thing. You used to believe in this dream, but then bad shit happened and you went off the deep end.
Yeah.
Um,
This is why, in that scene where Xavier's talking to Eric, like the thing's flooding up and like it's his own self-loathing, like taking him over. He mentions the fact that he survived as a kid because that's where the idea in Eric's head comes from. You know, it's the idea that as a child he was discriminated against, he was bullied, he was pushed to a breaking point. You know, and no kid should ever go through that type of torture. Because he's a mutant, it's not because he's a Jew, it's because he's a freak. When his parents died, he did something that no person around for 100 miles could do. He was able to bend metal. That is not normal, especially back then in the World War. You know, that's not normal back then. That's creepy. People are going to see he's an alien, and it broke him. So to him, Eric sits there and he knows that they have to coexist or mutants will have to kill the humans. It's one of the two. That's the only logical explanation. Humans are going to be able to do jack shit against people like Nightcrawler, Wolverine, Magneto, Professor Xavier. If they ever, I'm sorry, us humans are fucked. Where Xavier's going down the same route, but Xavier's thinking they can coexist. So, yeah, they have the same idea, it's just they're going different angles on it. That's all it is. And I think the scene where Magneto saves the thing from crashing, and you can see how strong he is. I think that's a good representation of, if he wanted humans gone, he would better do it by now.
Yeah,
he would have. Well, he would have done it by now.
I was just going to bring that up too. That out of all the times Magneto has had the chance to kill Xavier or kill his students, he's had dozens of chances. But he never does.
This is why the scene where he rips the adamantium out of Wolverine was so fucking huge. Because you even had Xavier going, Eric, please don't do this, because, you're going to go down a dark path if you do this.
You're going to go too far.
Yeah, and he just rips the adamantium, which, has fucked Wolverine up a bit. He's ripped the adamantium out of him, and everyone's like, holy fuck, It's almost like that moment there's the pushing point of Eric's dark, like him going down too far. He did something too bad. And like the worst things that happened in X-Men 97, you got the Genosha attack, you got people becoming Sentinels and stuff, which by the way was really fucking cool. We'll get back to that in just a second. Eric was there fighting with the X-Men. Not exactly, I'm not saying he was there fighting with the X-Men in the case of he was standing next to them, but he was fighting the same battle. It wasn't a case of, Eric's fighting this person. They were fighting the same battle. Mutant survival. That's what they were fighting for. Eric was on the same side as everyone else. It's just, he was doing it, again, the wrong way. But the fact that, he turns off he fucks up the planet for a while, doesn't he? He does the whole magnetic thing, and the whole world just stops working. Which, by the way, just proves that Eric could rule us within a matter of a couple hours. I was
going to say, there's another prime example of how powerful this man actually is. He can literally distort the magnetic field of the whole planet? Yeah, we ain't coming back from that.
Which, by the way, yes, he does that without flinching. He literally just clenches his fist and it's done. It's nothing to him. He's just flicked an ant. That's all he's done. It's nothing. And it just proves how strong he is. Eric could dominate so the scene where he's got all I can't remember what the room was where you had the assassin guy come in and where Storm loses her powers. Magneto sees that happen.
The court scene.
Yeah, thank you. It was courtroom. So he grabs all the people and he makes them all float up in the air, and he's like, I'm trying to do good here. You honestly were watching that scene. I honestly thought he was going to kill one of them. Like,
Me
you
too.
got a bunch. I was like, is he actually gonna lose his shit right now? Like, he just watched Storm lose her powers.
I was waiting for him to drop him. I was like, okay, here we go. We got Eric back. We got Magneto back.
Yeah, it was either going to be drop them or crush them, in like just wrap metal around them until the point they're dead, sort of thing. I was waiting for one of those two to happen, but it also shows his love for mutants because it's Storm. Mm-hmm. Storm lost her ability. She even sits there and goes, "I can't do anything," and that's when Magneto snaps, going, "Yeah, fuck you lot. What the hell just happened?"
Yeah. So we had so many different characters get such character build in this show too. Characters that didn't get as much love, I would say, in original, because Storm did not get as much love as she did in this one.
Oh god, no! Storm was one of the heavy hitting, like just characters that are always there that can help sort of character. Where in this, she was one of the main characters.
I mean, yeah. So we got a character build on Storm, we got a character build on Jubilee, we got a character build on Magneto. And let's face it, we got a character build on Xavier too, because here he is, finally with the one he loves, and he gives it all up to go back.
Which, can I just say, that never actually, nothing happens after that. That's actually something I'm curious to see if they bring back in season 2. Because we have Xavier sat there and he goes, "I have to go back." And everyone's like, "Well, what do you mean? If you go back, you forfeit this whole scenario." And Xavier's like, "Nope, I need to go save my X-Men. I need to be there with them." And that's it. You never see his love. You never see
Shion never comes up again. So it's like, what's happening with Lilandra? What's going on with them?
Exactly, it's a case of Xavier just got threatened, just been told that he has to go for this trial thing, ends up leaving. I'm sure there's a consequence for that, right?
Right.
So it's gonna be curious.
Can we talk about the teacher scene? Come on, that was great. That was hilarious when he basically goes in everybody's mind and be like, "Class is in session." Yes.
Yeah. Where everyone sat there and you makes an apple and he's eating. Yeah, that's great. I love that. I was like, "What? I know schooling brats with powers works. Hang on a second. Let me school you for a second."
Yeah, because I think it was Lilandra that said it. That you're a teacher. Don't forget that. And I'm like, yeah, Xavier, come on.
Yeah, man, that was Xavier was good in this.
A couple things I hope to see in the next season. One is, I'm with you. I want to know what's going on with the Shi'ar. What's happened? Because it's stated both in comics and in the cartoon that him and Lilandra are soulmates. So there's no her gonna just let him walk away. I don't see that happening. Plus now we got what is her name? Deathbird, I think is her name. The sister. Now we got her trying to play her hand at the throne. So it's like, okay, there's more to this. I want to see the Starjammers. I'm sorry. I want to see Scott and his dad together again.
Well, I think the best way would do it is let the apocalypse stuff go. Let that come and go. Let that be a whole story and stuff. And I'll guarantee you now, one of the end credit scenes for season 2 is, they come to Earth and they're like, "Hi, we're here now." Or Xavier, we'll see them or something. But they'll pop. I think they'll pop up again. If they don't, it'd be very weird. Because, I get the fact they didn't want to drag that storyline on when it happened, because the whole thing is, everyone assumes Xavier's dead. Xavier's actually on a different planet. He's gonna become a ruler there. He's with his lover, all that jazz, and then he can, he has that vision thing, doesn't he? And it really affects him. He can sense GAMBIT dying and all that stuff, and he can feel the pain of Genosha and all that stuff. And he's like, "I have to go. I have to be a X-Men. I'm sorry, I have to leave." And I understand the fact that they didn't bring it back up. No one asked Xavier where he was. No one. It wasn't even a conversation really. They didn't tease them again. Blah, blah, blah. I get that. But then if they never do anything with it again, it'll be very strange. It'll be a bit odd. And if they don't do anything with it, I'm gonna be sat kind of disappointed, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I want to see the Starjammers back, because now we're getting Scott with his son. We're seeing Scott with Cable. So bring me my Starjammers back so I can have Corsair and Scott, have a reunion is not the word I'm looking for, but have them build on their relationship. But in that sense too, I want Havoc to show up and them actually to say that that's Alex. Drives me crazy that they have not pointed out the fact that those two are brothers.
Like, I think because it's animation, they can get with a lot. Like, they can do so much with it, and I truly think that when it comes to X97, it was so well done. It was so perfectly executed. We've got 3 seasons already. They've already said season 2 and season 3. They've almost done with season 2 already. They're doing it. And this animation team got through What If season 3 already, even though we've just got season 2. They're already working on season 3 way before. We had a fucking teaser trailer for it. Already. And it's just like, they're working hard. And it's easier to do animation stuff. You can get away with a lot more. You can do weird and wacky, cool things, and, people can wear their silly outfits and all that jazz. And it's just like, I think they could get away with, what one season, is about Cable, which is his son. Another season, his brother will come into it for an episode or something. His dad could come into it and all that jazz. And it'd be kind of cool if his dad comes into it, because then maybe Cable will kind of, respect his dad a bit more, or, something on those lines via seeing his dad with his granddad, which would be really strange to say, because Cable's
I know, it's so weird to see Cable, because he's, so much older than Cyclops, but, yeah, that's Dad. I'm like, okay. That's weird.
Hey, Dad, this is your grandson. And then he just looks at Cable like, what the fuck? What mutant power do you have? Super aging?
Yeah, right? See, that's the thing, too, that I liked in X-Men 97, getting back to, the episodes we were talking about, seeing Cable actually use his powers. Oh. Mm. Yes.
Yes, thank fuck you brought that up. I think we had a very good representation with everyone's abilities in this. We got to see very good fight scenes and things like this, even if it was just small stuff. I think Beast was the only one that didn't do a lot, but his mutant ability isn't anything to do with, cool flashy stuff. It's his, agility, the way that he, is built, technically his blue fire is now part of it too, but we did see him use his brain. He's the smartest. He's the smartest in the sense of naturally smart, not like mutant smart. It's not a superpower or anything. He's just smart, and we see him he rebuilds. He hijacks one of the Sentinels, which, by the way, that was such a cool scene.
Right, that was dope.
He turned to send him to a fucking Megazord. That was just such a dope scene. But we got to see Beast being smart. We got to see Cyclops using his beams not only just offensively but in a traversal way. Gambit obviously blows up the big, huge fucking machine in one fell swoop. The thing that I love so much about when Rogue says his name was Gambit, remember it. It's the fact that when she punches it, because Rogue's really strong. People forget how strong Rogue is. When she decks him, and you can feel the punch that she gives. It vibrates almost. There's an echo. And I'm like, yes, finally, we're gonna see how strong, because I'm sorry, Rogue's strong. She's not Hulk can move a planet strong, sure, but she's strong, and it's just the ability, Nightcrawler, the fact they kept his sound effect, I'm so happy. They kept his, I'm so glad they kept it. That's one of my favourite things about Nightcrawler, because even in the comic books, when he teleports, they add a sound bubble to it, and stuff like this. There's a sound to when he, physics sound when he teleports, and the fact that they kept it, I was like, yes, that's my boy.
But yeah, seeing Cable use his powers, that was cool. And come on, if we're going to talk about that episode real quick, we got to drop the Phoenix. Oh. To see her back as the Phoenix for a split second, which was really all it was.
But technically speaking, because everyone was like, "Oh no, Jean's evil," but I was like, "No, listen to what she says. The Phoenix is gone."
Yeah,
but she's still able to use its ability that's why she was able to do that thing she did. The Phoenix, like the entity of the Phoenix, that's dead. That's gone. That's been, we've seen that arc already in this universe. That's gone. That's fine. They're not bringing her back. But the fact that she was able to do that, yeah, that was sick. That was such a good moment as well. Like, I'm really glad, we got to see. I think the only thing that was a bit like, it's not weird at all, but there isn't a difference between Jean's telepathic abilities and Professor Xavier's. They're exactly the same. They're represented exactly the same. They're both like a blue hue and stuff. Like, I'd like a difference. Like, I know they're the same power, but because they're both extremely strong telepaths and stuff like this, I'd like just a difference would have been nice. But like, that's fine. I'm cool with like what they did. Like I said, earlier, that we had Cable looking at the astral projection forms of his dad, and he got to speak to it. Without Jean, he wouldn't be able to do that. That's such a cool scene, and I think it actually works really well with the fact they're not there. They're not actually there in person. I think it actually makes it better in like how like sweet it is, like how touching it is. So like, yeah, I just love. I'm a stickler for how things are represented, the special effects, and I'm a stickler for like how things are done, morphing sequences, fucking powers and stuff. And as a writer, I also like coming up with the visuals myself and stuff. So the fact that we got really good representation of what everyone can do, the main cast, air quote, I think Forge was the only main mutant, because let's be honest, when he comes up and saves Storm, he's now kind of like a main character. I think like he's the only one we don't really see much of, like when it comes to ability wise, because like you said, his ability isn't flashy. It's not a case of it's not a big thing. Like, he thinks it, he can make it, sort of thing. But like, we do see it. It's just like there isn't a big like thing on screen for it, which
not
makes
a big
sense
to do with his power.
Yeah,
there's not a red beam or blue fur with strength. His is just, he can build anything, and
which we do see.
We do get to see it, because you get to see him and Beast work side by side,
which is dope, by the way.
Yeah,
which is so cool. What was your thoughts on human sentinels?
That was actually, so I didn't know much about Bastion from the comics, I'll be honest. I did not know much about that character. I thought it was Nimrod, which I was somewhat correct, because it is connected to Nimrod. But to see actual humans as Sentinels, I was like, oh, this is cool. And I felt sorry for Beast with his reporter friend.
Yeah, I kind of felt sorry for Beast and his reporter friend, to be fair. I was like, oh no, really? Like, we're building something there. Like, it's not like, it's Beast.
When the scene started, and she was talking to him in the lab about tracking it, I went, oh no, she's one of them. And sure enough, there, and she grabs his finger. I was like, oh crap.
I just love it.
Cannot get a date.
I just love it when they go to find, like, was it his mum? And, like, everyone's like, oh, she's a sweet, oh crap, she's one of them. I was like, oh, what are you doing to an old lady for? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it just shows how strong they are. So the fact that they, like, brutally obliterated the X-Mansion. They're blowing up, like, all sorts of stuff. The whole, like, Cyclops and Jean trying to escape from them and things like that. I love the whole scene where Jean's like, I'll drive, and she drives the car. You got Cyclops and Cable in the car.
I know, Cyclops' line in that, let's show them what happens when you mess with the Summers. I was like,
yeah,
God, that's great.
It's not talked about, and I'm annoyed it's not talked about, but I'm sorry, the X-Mansion fight where you got Nightcrawler with the two swords fucking finally teleporting around you, I'm like, yes, this was sick.
Hold up, you're counting wrong. He has 3 swords.
Yeah, I know, but, fucking, he only had, like, but
he had 2 swords in one sword in each hand, and his tail, which was badass.
But, like, finally he has his swords, because even in the comic books he has swords, and it annoys me that, like, there's so many versions of Nightcrawler now, and he never has his fucking swords, and finally he got his, and, like, it was just so good watching that scene.
I think The only version, cartoon-wise, that we get of him is Wolverine in the X-Men. He has his sword.
Yeah,
For, like,
because
a
Evolution
scene, I
didn't
think.
do it. Evolution didn't do it, and the movies have never done it.
Nope. Oh, the movie's murderized Nightcrawler, if you ask me.
Oh yeah, 110%. As a huge Nightcrawler fan, it broke me. But like that scene's not talked about enough, and it's one of my favorite fight scenes because you've got Wolverine doing what he does best. You've got, and I'm sorry again, Wolverine is like one of my favorite. My child's named after him. You know, he does what he's doing, but he gets to brutally fuck with people. You know, he's going claws, and then this Nightcrawler just comes up with a bunch of swords. Like, yeah, I'm here too, and I'm like, yes.
The scene where Nightcrawler teleports and Wolverine is hanging on. Oh, that was just like, oh, I love that.
Yeah. But like,
just because the look on Wolverine's face was just oh shit.
Yeah, 110%. Like that mansion scene was just really fucking good. And I'm really glad they actually made it because the whole point of Xavier, about 90% of a lot of X-Men storylines and stuff is that he has a school for mutants. And for a lot of these main X-Men characters, it's where they grew up. It's where they learned how to master their powers. It's where they became a team. And the fact that the episode after, the X-Mansion gets obliterated, they actually hang out there for a while. Storm comes back there. Everyone talks to Xavier. Why wasn't he around? Why are you here now? There. You get to see how destroyed it was. Storm walks in and she's gobsmacked. She's taken back. And things like this. And it's almost like a character died. And I'm really glad they did that because the X-Mansion is one of the biggest Marvel places there is, in Marvel history.
That's a good way to look at it, though, is that it is a character in its own right. It is a character.
Yeah.
I mean, you say Marvel, and to me, 3 buildings pop into my mind automatically.
Avengers Tower, Baxter Building, and X-Mansion.
Bingo. Those would be the 3.
Yeah.
Automatically pop into my head as soon as you say Marvel buildings. Okay, which building we talking about? Because those are the 3 most famous buildings.
Yep. But
but we've talked about all the characters. Can we talk about one of the other things that X-Men 97 did really well for us?
Which would be?
Cameos.
Okay, yeah, I was waiting to bring this up because me and my friend James had this conversation all the time, and I actually shocked him with my answer because he said to me, "Oh, dude, it'd be really cool if they did a Daredevil series and they did brought back Spider." I'm like, "No." He said, "What do you mean?" He's like, I said to him, I don't want a universe out of this. Do Spider-Man. That I'll agree with. Only because, that is my Spider-Man show. I grew up with that. Okay, granted, it came out the year I was born, but that's how I got hooked on Spider-Man. And Spider-Man's one of my favorite Marvel characters. That's
Thanks
how
for making me feel old again.
You're welcome. Bring back Spider-Man, yeah, fair. But I don't want these cameos to be more the Captain America scene was brilliant in the fact that Rogue just tossed his shield. That was fantastic. I love that, by the way. I want little things like that. Make it so these cameos are exactly what cameos for. To delight, to expand, and to showcase. Nothing more, nothing less. That's literally what a cameo is for. And it's
I'll have to disagree with you on that. I'll have to agree with you on this. I don't want every cameo we had to get its own spin-off, but I would love to see Avengers, and I'd love to see Spider-Man. Those, out of that, I would love to see those.
So, the one thing that people keep talking about, and so many things have written about it as well, everyone's confused why T'Chaka was Black Panther, and not T'Challa was Black Panther, and what people have to understand is the Avengers were around for a long time before Black Panther joined them. When T'Challa, Black Panther joined them. The Avengers were around for a little while, in air quotes, the world of Marvel anyway. T'Chaka's still Black Panther before T'Challa. I'm actually really happy it was T'Chaka that was Black Panther, because back in the night it would have been T'Chaka in the way that the universe works. And one thing that people also have to understand is, because people keep thinking that Marvel wouldn't let X-Men use T'Challa. Nah, that's not it. It's not because Chadwick Boseman died or anything, R.I.P. Nothing like that. It's a case of They got it accurate. T'Challa wouldn't have been Black Panther then. It would have been T'Chaka. By this point, if they're going off like the timeline of 98 Spider-Man, 97 X-Men, T'Challa would almost be Black Panther. He'd be coming of age. He'd almost be there. But it'd still be T'Chaka. He's the king of Wakanda. I'm so glad they went with that. And I have to mention this, Iron Man's suit.
Oh, classic suit?
I'm so glad it was designed like that, because that's what it used to look like before it before it got fucking redesigned. Don't get me wrong, I love Iron Man. I love Iron Man's suit. But back in the 90s, that's what he looked like.
Watch the 90s Iron Man cartoon. That's exactly what that suit was. Was pulled straight out of that cartoon. Even Captain America looked like 90s Captain America.
Yep.
He did not look like the newer Captain America. And I think X-Men 97 did an amazing job giving us our characters from that time frame.
Mm-hmm. What was the biggest, holy fuck, that he's in this sort of like cameo for you? What was the biggest shock?
Oh, there was a lot, my friend. I mean, I don't know. That's a great question, which I do not have an answer for.
I think Cloak and Dagger was the one that shocked me the most.
That one was
for a fact. I knew for a fact they'd throw Spider-Man in somewhere, even if it was like, a picture, a name drop, something like that, because the crossover in the original cartoons of X-Men and Spider-Man, there was a couple of them. Some of them were really minor, because there's a whole scene where Spider-Man is mutating too much, and he actually goes to Beast, and Beast is like, I can't help you, I can't kill you. It's actually one of the best scenes for Beast, and Spider-Man. But, they've crossed it. I knew they'd do something with Spider-Man. I knew. But the fact that we had Daredevil, we had Black Panther, Captain America, Iron Man, we had Cloak and Dagger show, that was the biggest shock, because I was just expecting Daredevil to stand up and carry on fighting, because Daredevil's a hard ass. But no, we had Cloak and Dagger save his ass. I was like, holy crap, that's cool. I was not, and they looked like they did back in the 90s, because they don't look like that anymore. Well, Dagger kind of does, Cloak doesn't. But it's like, holy crap, I was not expecting those, and it was like, of course, we also have Peter and MJ, which kind of solves what Spider-Man's been doing this entire time in the last year of this continuity.
Right. I know, but that's why everybody wants Spider-Man 98 now, is because they want to know how he found Mary Jane. I mean, I'm right there with them.
See, this is the thing. If they did a Spider-Man series, and I said this to James, they've already established MJ's there. I would prefer if they did it so Peter and MJ together, MJ knows that he's Spider-Man, stuff like that, and it's more of a case of we'll learn what happened as the series goes on, and maybe what happened is affecting what's going on now. Maybe Spider-Man pissed off a few people, or whoever had MJ wants MJ back, or something like that. That would be the best way to tell what's happened in the last year for Spidey. If they just did it where 98 ended, where Spider-Man's floating through the multiverse sort of thing, I'd be like, I mean, you kind of give a year skip for 97, X-Men 97. Do it the same thing. Make it so it starts off, with Peter and MJ together. They're safe. Just explain it. But yeah, I also love the fact we had 2 cameos via Morph. Technically 3 if you count Quicksilver, but he's an X-Men, so we're not going to count him. But the 2 cameos we got because of Morph, which, by the way, one of them was fucking done fantastically.
I'm gonna guess you're thinking the Hulk one.
Yes, that was done so well. The fact that he just spins and fucks up, I was like, yes!
Yes. And what, Magic the other one?
No, Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, okay. I like seeing Magic, though. I thought that was cool seeing her.
Yeah, but the reason why I'm not counting Magic as a cameo is because Magic's an X-Men.
Oh, okay. Fair point.
I was talking about the 2 that aren't like X-Men, air quote, which would Hulk and Mr. But granted, Mr. Fantastic was only used as a safety procedure, but still,
it was still cool to see him.
Yeah, but again, he also looked like what he did in the 90s.
Yep. Yeah,
because everyone thinks that the Fantastic Four are all blue and black. That's not true. They had white in their suits.
Yep.
And it's just like, yeah, the cameos were done really well. Sadly, I knew Captain America was going to be in it before the episode came out. Because they dropped the image of Captain America's shield in the snow.
Oh, okay.
They teased it like 5 days beforehand. And I saw it and I was like, oh, I didn't want to see that. And I'm like, will it be actually Captain America? I'm curious. And it was. I'm glad it was only the shield I saw. I'm glad I didn't see like Captain America talk to Rogue or whatever. But like, it was such a good scene as well. Captain America's scene was done really phenomenally. Like, he doesn't do anything.
Yeah, he's not that big, but it was impactful.
You know, it's not like he did anything worthwhile, but it's just like I said, you know, it's meant to delight, expand, and showcase. That's what cameos should be doing. You know, it was delightful to see these characters on the screen. You know, I'm glad that, you know, they decided to nuke the thing when they just, like, they're arguing over, you know, do we nuke the fucking thing? Do we blow this up? What do we do? I'm glad it wasn't just, you know, the president's talking. They actually used their heads and went, well, hang on, Wakanda would have a say in this. Because, hello, Wakanda's a fucking nation in itself. But also, the Avengers would have a say in this. There is one thing that James did mention, which I did kind of question. If the fact that Captain America and Iron Man was just stood there arguing over, you know, do we nuke it, why didn't they do anything beforehand? Because we've seen in multiple different ways Iron Man can stop things by himself.
Yeah.
Well. Like, why did it go straight to, yeah, let's blow it up with a nuke? Like, what? Why was that the first thing you guys think of?
I don't know. It could have been to make a hint towards Civil War. I mean, because Captain America and Iron Man are on separate sides in that storyline, so it could be that, but I don't know. I didn't think too hard about it.
I wouldn't mind an Avengers cartoon, I guess, if it was done right. Like, if the people behind 97 went, right, we're going to expand this a little bit, let's do Spider-Man and Avengers, I'd be happy. Because I know for a fact we'll get the same love and attention.
Yeah.
You know, because that's literally what this was. This was a love letter to X-Men fans, X-Men cartoon fans, Marvel fans, and anyone who grew up in the fucking 90s.
To me, a lot of this felt too like, okay, we hear you guys. We know we fucked up with X-Men in the past. So here, have this.
Actually, technically speaking, Disney has no say on that. It was Fox who fucked up X-Men. Blame Fox.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though is like Disney's like, okay, we know it's been fucked up. How's that sound?
Yeah,
it's been fucked up in the past. Here, let me do you right, and here you go, X-Men 97.
But yeah, like legit, when it comes to animation stuff, they're gonna please a lot of people. And it's weird. It's almost like live action films became a thing. You know, we have Batman, Superman, the Dark Knight trilogy, Iron Man then came into swing, Tobey Maguire movies, whatever. Live action films became so huge. So every superhero had to be on the live action screen, whether it was done well or not, you know. And then all of a sudden, Marvel's just somehow brought it back. Or maybe it was Star Wars that started it, I guess. But Marvel just somehow have made anime, like, so many people now want, you know, more Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. The people behind that actually said we were gonna do a Batman Beyond, but Warner Brothers said no, and now everyone's hassling Warner Brothers to let them do Batman Beyond. You know, people want...
Can I sign that list? Can I sign that list? Because I want that.
Yeah, no, I want that. In the same art style as Across the Spider-Verse, yeah.
Yes, please.
Like, you know, people are now demanding Warner Brothers to do a Teen Titans in the same sort of art style as X-Men 97. People want, like, more Avengers.
Hold on. You're saying bring back our Teen Titans? Do like they did with X-Men 97? But with Teen Titans?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that would be sick.
But, like, you know, Warner Brothers are too stuck up. That's a whole fucking podcast in itself. I fucking despise Warner Brothers. But like, people want more animation stuff. The DC animated universe movies are some of the best DC stuff we've gotten in years because they can do so much more of animation. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing a live action Spider-Man. I love seeing Iron Man on the big screen. Absolutely fucking loved Endgame when we had all these superheroes on the same screen like jazz. Granted, they weren't done correctly, but it was kind of cool seeing some of these X-Men abilities on the live, big screen and that sort of jazz. But animation, you can do so much more. You take the scene where Cyclops saves himself in the sky. You take the scene Gambit dies. You take the scene where Eric stops the world from functioning. You take the final fight scene with Bastion. You take these scenes, they would not work as live action. It wouldn't work properly. It would fail so hard. It would fail so bad. And it's just like animation, you can just like I actually don't have an issue with the animation anymore. I did at first. I found it very strange, very peculiar. There was just something off about it. It was almost like I was watching the TV through like a pair of weird glasses or something. But now I love it. Now that I've seen what they can do with it, I don't fucking care. I couldn't care less. It was so good. And like, give me I kind of want my Spider-Man. I do want my Spider-Man back because that was my Spider-Man show. I want that back. But I'm happy with that. Like, the cameos we got just expand it ever so slightly in a nice little way, in the way of just to let you know. It's okay. So with Avengers and all those movies, the reason why the MCU's failing so hard is because Marvel get given rules. They get given a contract. They have to sign. They have to follow. And because the fans are now like, okay, Doctor Strange is going through the multiverse. Yeah, okay, so where's Captain America? Where's Iron Man in this situation? Where's Captain Marvel in this situation? So now the MCU films always have to have someone else in it to answer the question, where are these heroes? In X-Men 97, they did exactly what people would have done. If there was no cameos at all, and Magneto shut off the world and that thing was about to crash, everyone would have gone, oh, where's Iron Man? Where's Spider-Man in this situation? We know they exist in this universe. They did exactly that. Oh, by the way, we know you're going to ask where the Avengers are. They're going to send a nuke. We know you're going to ask where Spider-Man is. He's on a date with MJ. We know you're going to ask these questions. Here you go, have an answer. And they fucking did it really well.
Yeah. Well, like you said, something with animation, I think as we've gotten older, more people have realized it, you can do more. Yep. It's easier for us to visualize in our heads these scenes of animation over live action. Like you said, the scene where Cyclops saves himself with his optic blast. That would be so CGI, we would know. Mm-hmm. We would go, okay, that's so completely fake. But as an animation, we already know it's fake because it's animation.
Like, I had this conversation with James last night because we were bitching about Star Wars. The TV show Farscape is one of my favorite space TV shows because 99% of it is real stuff. It's puppets, it's makeup. The only time they really do CGI is when you physically can't really make things into a puppet. Like, one character has a really long tongue. The laser blasts are even real life, like lights, flashy effects and explosions, It's one of my favorite space things because it looks real because they haven't done the whole CGI thing. Nia, my fiance, is now only watching the MCU. She's not a geek of any kind. She's a big Disney nerd, but that's about it. She's not a massive superhero fan at all. And we are now on Thor 2. So she's just watched Iron Man 3. And my friend James comes over often and watches with us. We watched Avengers the last week. And it looks 10 times better than the crap we're getting now. It looks so good, CGI-wise. Those aliens look real. Iron Man 3, which, by the way, I didn't really like until I rewatched it. But, like, that even looks better, and that's a film that came out in 2013, mind. And it looks better to the films we have now, 11 years later. CGI's gone way downhill. So bad. So, like, having this cartoon with such good animation, telling a good story, good voice act. Okay, I will say this: Ro doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
But
Even though it's the same actress, it just
you can tell her age. You can tell it's been 20 years.
Yeah.
But James did make a good point. I've said it from the get-go, Ro doesn't sound right. But the scene where Gambit's dead and she's holding Gambit and she's like, I can't feel you, and she like, cries and everything, that was executed fucking beautifully. What the fuck? It honestly felt like the voice actress just lost someone. Like, what the fuck? Like, don't get me wrong, she does not sound like... you listen to Rogue from the X-Men cartoon, you listen to 97, she doesn't sound the same. But fuck me, that execution was good. Holy crap.
Yes, I will completely agree with you on that. That scene, the way she emoted was just beautiful. Because you really felt that Rogue had just lost the love of her life.
Yeah, you felt like you just lost the love of your life.
No joke, right? I had to look over and make sure my wife was still sitting there.
Like, legit, like, you could feel the gut punch.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah,
So do you want to talk about the final cutscene now? Because it has been a while since we brought it up.
the final cutscene?
The final cutscene, the card.
Yes.
Apocalypse.
So, a lot of people didn't know it had an end credit scene. I actually said to people, I was like, oh, what do you think of the final end credit scene? They're like, end credit scene? I'm like, yeah, get through the first set of credits.
Yeah, I didn't know either. And I was talking to my buddy Daniel that I sent to you. And I'm like, talking about the episode, he's like, yeah, what about that end credit scene? I'm like, what? What end credit scene? So I literally turned, because my gaming TV is next to my computer, so I literally turned my gaming TV on, went back to it, and watched that scene. And I was ecstatic.
Yeah, it's good, man. Like, so for those who don't know, there's an end credit scene in the end of X-Men. By the way, you were on Genosha, and it's dark. It's a part of, I'd say, Dark Side. Then wrong fucking universe. Fuck me. Can I just say it's almost 2:00 in the morning for me? By the way. Yes, Dark Side comes in. By the way, guys, Batman's gonna join the fucking X-Men. All right, cool. So we have Apocalypse, and he's talking. He picks up like some dirt, I guess, blows it away, and we have a very burnt, fucked up playing card in his palm, and obviously that's linked to Gambit because the whole playing card fatigue. But and like you said, you actually said it in the group chat, he's more than likely going to be the Horseman of Death.
Yeah,
that's what it looks like it's going with.
In the comics, Gambit does become the Horseman of Death.
Yeah.
So
and they're following they haven't followed every single thing because the Genosha attack in the comics is done by Cassandra, not Bastion. But the actual attack is actually almost like, one for one sort of thing. They just changed who did it, which is fine.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they'll do Cassandra in this universe.
No, I think they're going to leave that to the live action universe.
Which is ruining Cassandra, by the way, but
that's another podcast too.
That trust me, I know you're not a Deadpool fan, but like I'm looking forward for Deadpool and Wolverine. My boy's back in fucking yellow for the first time, live action, and the only critique I have is that Cassandra's going to be ruined, because people keep saying that it's Charles Xavier's sister. I'm like, no, it's not. That's not his sister. But
But anywho.
Yeah, Apocalypse is gonna bring... I honestly hope, and this is gonna sound harsh, and you're not gonna like what I'm about to say because you're a Gambit fan, but I honestly hope that when Apocalypse is done and gone, Gambit leaves again, like he dies again, like he goes, because if he comes back and he just stays alive, it would ruin what happened in season 1. It would break that whole, holy fuck moment.
Yeah, see, we disagree, because I want him back.
Well, obviously, I know, that's sure. You wouldn't like what I was about to say, because you're a Gambit fan.
And I'm pretty sure this is how they're going to bring him back. Because I think the whole thing was the reason that Gambit got killed off. I remember hearing rumors. I don't know. I never actually looked into it. It was because they had to get rid of the character because of what he was. Because he was a thief and, he wasn't good and all this stuff. I'm like, well, then we need to kill off Logan.
Yeah, the guy literally was in practically every war you people have ever had. Yeah, that's a good
Dude's got more blood on his hands than blood in the human body. So, yeah. If we're going to be killing off characters that are bad, well, then you need to take a harder look at your characters.
And also Nightcrawler.
Yeah?
Nightcrawler's done some fucking, like, assassination shit, Like, he's not exactly the most innocent.
Yeah.
Can I just say, when it comes to, like, people like Nightcrawler and Wolverine, since, that's the topic for a second, I love the fact that, like, they got all their accents right and stuff.
Yes. Having their accents. I suck at accents, but having their accents was nice.
Again, going back to diversity, the fact of, like, how unique and stuff everyone is, they finally got it where, we had, let's see, Gambit, Rogue, Wolverine, Nightcrawler. I think that's everyone with an accent of some kind.
Roro.
Oh yeah, Storm. No, how the fuck did I forget Storm? So you had several people with a very strong accent. And like
Roberto actually too. Don't forget him now.
Oh yeah, that's very true. Yeah, okay, yes, that's fair. But like, you have all these characters with diverse accents, and it's just nice to have some representation. Not everyone sounds like an American. No offense, that's not meant to be offensive.
Whatever.
I'm just saying, it's nice the fact that Gambit actually sounds like Gambit. Nightcrawler has his accent.
Yeah, he's German. He's actually German. You can tell.
Yeah.
Speaking of Nightcrawler, I love the fact of how close they brought him and Rogue together. Actually calling them siblings and stuff. I loved that. The fact that Kurt was the officiator of Gambit's funeral, I was like, oh, this is perfect.
Like, that broke me, man. I think I actually, my eyes swelled up with tears, I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh no, Kurt's doing it, what the fuck?
Well, it makes sense for Kirk to do it, because, I mean, in X-Men, Gambit states he's not a religious person, but he confided in Kurt, and Kurt, was there for him. Kurt was his spiritual outlet. So for Kurt to do it, it was beautiful. And then to have him, call Rogue his sister, have him be there for Rogue. And, we haven't brought up one thing that we need to talk about with Rogue. When she drops the frickin' dude off the building.
Oh my god! No, honestly, that didn't even enter my brain. What the fuck? Yeah, no, that was a scene, man. Like, she's just floating there, holding him, and the X-Men are like, yeah, we're not like that, Rogue, by the way. And she's like, yeah, well, and just let's go.
Yeah, she's just like, she's like, well, then I guess you're not useful anymore, and just drops him. I'm like, oh my god, Rogue went off the deep end. I love it.
Yeah, bro, that was such a fucking, holy crap. And this is going to sound really strange, but the fact that it was, nighttime, they had city lights, it's just the whole atmosphere, it was just such a good build-up. And everyone's like, okay, yeah, Rogue, just go, just put your feet down, go back on the roof, the balcony, put the man down. Yeah, no, what? Don't let go. Why is he dead? It was just like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. And, we talked about cameos a little bit. What about General Ross? I mean, that one kind of blew my mind when you saw it was actual General Ross. I was like, well, shit.
Well, yeah, because technically speaking, in the Iron Man cartoon, which is crossed over with Spider-Man, which means it would be the same Iron Man as X-Men. There was a whole Hulk episode that had General Ross in it. So technically speaking, General Ross has been in this universe, air quote, noted before. So for the fact that he brought him in, that was good.
Yeah, and seeing how we're talking on Rogue, can we just say don't make that woman mad? Can we just,
I think it'd be a really good idea if some people pissed her off for some reason, you know. Goes around dropping people off buildings and shit.
she completely destroys a base that was designed to withstand the Hulk?
Which, can I just say, was a perfect scene. Oh yeah, she's not getting in. This building can withstand the Hulk. Ah, shit. Like, just the fact that Rogue just went ham. It was actually quite funny how everyone's like, oh, where's Rogue? We haven't seen her. She should be here, sort of thing. And then we just see Rogue just land on the ground and everyone's like, oh, fuck. Like as soon as she lands and she's like, just stands up, you see like where she is. The whole thing is, well, Rogue's gonna, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's a Rogue. Just like that has this whole like atmosphere of Rogue's pissed. Like even the music changes. Rogue's annoyed.
I had a conversation with somebody about this a while back. I don't think it was any of you guys. That that's not Rogue. Rogue wouldn't act like that. You know what? You go and have your heart broken, like really have it shattered into pieces, and tell me how you're gonna act.
Yeah.
Because she wanted revenge. She just lost the love of her life. 2 men, in fact, that she thought she was completely and utterly in love with. One she was in love with, and then one she had feelings for. She just watched them die, along with tons of innocent people. Yeah, tell me how you're gonna act.
Yeah, no, people to this day have brought up the Infinity War argument of, if Peter Quill did exactly what he was told, the universe would have been saved, because as soon as Gamora got mentioned the fact that, she died, Star-Lord, smacks fucking Thanos and ruins the whole thing of taking the gauntlet off. And my argument is, alright, okay, let me get your woman and drop her off a fucking cliff and see how you'd fucking react, shall we?
No shit, yeah.
So like people saying that Rogue going off the deep end is a bit like, off. I'm like, well, you have the man that she wants to spend the rest of her life with, and then you have the man that can physically touch her in every way, shape, and form, which, by the way, she can't touch people, mind. You have those two people, and she just watched both of them go bang. Not die, not get shot, they go bang. So, you tell me how she was meant to fucking act. And by the way, Rogue's a hothead as it is.
Right?
Like, she's not a type of character to, like, Jean gets stabbed, for example. Rogue's just gonna sit there, she doesn't know. She's gonna fucking lamp someone. She don't take shit. So, like, of course she's gonna go fucking mental. And she's gonna blame fucking Bastion for it, because obviously he's the one who fucking sorted out the Sentinels and shit. But
she didn't blame Bastion at first. She blamed what's his name, the creator of the Sentinels.
Oh right, yeah.
That's who she was going after in that episode. And Bastion then ends up killing him.
Yeah.
So.
I love how Mr. Sinister wasn't the last villain. I'm kind of glad about that.
Yeah.
Because don't get me wrong, Mr. Sinister's like one of the bigger bads, and he definitely has done some fucked up shit with the X-Men for sure. But I was kind of sat there thinking to myself, as he was teased, I was like, really, you're gonna do Mr. Sinister? He was in the original cartoon.
Again, we're going down this path again.
Yeah. It's cool, but really, and then bang, then you had this whole thing. I was like, oh, okay, now that's kind of when Bastion gets formed into the robot thing, and you see him get wings and shit. I was like, okay, this guy's kind of cool. All right, okay, fair enough. This isn't Mr. Sinister. I'm happy with this.
Yeah,
this is kind of sick.
Akron actually asked me the scene where they're battling on the moon, if that was from Thanos, and I told him, I was like, I don't think so. I think that's from the Shi'ar. From the scene where we had Phoenix, or not Phoenix, but where they were fighting for Jean's life. I think that's supposed to be that same area.
Yeah, I think so too, to be fair. Which I absolutely love the fact that, Bastion as a robot thing, whatever the fuck his actual name is, I don't even think it's mentioned, but he gets bitch smacked around a bit. He definitely holds his own, but you've got Roberto, Jubilee, Rogue just smacking around, Nightcrawler takes a good thwack at him, and all this crap, and it's just like, alright, fair enough. Like, that's a good way of like showing off everybody. And then, of course, you had things like Cable actually finally using his powers, and Phoenix, and it was just a good way to tie all together. I'm glad it was the X-Men. It was everyone's involved who was alive. Everyone's involved. Everyone gets 2 seconds of spotlight with their powers. Everyone gets a punch in. It's not a case of like, even Beast, who, didn't really do much action-wise, even got a swing in, stuff like that. It's not just a case of like, oh yeah, by the way, this is your little team now. 4 people are going to fight the main bad guy, because we're just going to make a reason everyone's stuck. That's, everyone got a punch in. Even if it wasn't against Bastion, everyone got a swing. And it just felt like, at the final big fight, it felt like an X-Men cartoon. It felt like all the X-Men were involved. The main X-Men characters were involved. Minus Professor Xavier, because he doesn't do a lot of fighting, let's be honest. But yeah, it felt like an X-Men.
It felt like an X-Men finale. It felt like, okay, this is the season finale. This is everything we've built up to. Here we go. Let's see it come to fruition.
Yeah.
Sure. And so here's a question, and I posed it. I don't remember who I posed it to. Who do you think sent them through time?
See, at first, I was kind of hoping it was an accident. Like, when it first happened, and, like, Apocalypse is there, and, like, then they revealed that young Nate's going to be a thing, I was really hoping it was an accident. It would be, like, in my head, I saw it as, it would be really cool if, like, maybe it was a combination of, like, Magneto and Jean, or, something like that. It'd be really cool if it was just an accident. No one could have predicted it. But then I'm sat there thinking,
You cut out there, Ty. Uh-oh, we lost Ty. Did we lose Ty? Or did Ty lose me? I don't know. Okay. I'm literally here talking to myself now because I don't know what happened to Ty. And I'm concerned.
Do you ever wonder what would happen if
you give a dad a podcast?
Hello, all my beautiful people.
Hey, Mom, I'm not going to college like we planned. I'm going to take a couple years off. I just gave all my college money to this professional wrestling promoter, and I'm going to be a big superstar one day.
I'm a human and I'm a chiropractor.
I wasn't about to call you dad, so.
I'm what you call a nerd fan.
And the Monos Chronicles, the new web series that I'm working on.
We inadvertently made that kid cry. We didn't mean to.
I mean,
people get really mad at those videos for some reason. Like, it triggers certain people. Yeah.
First tryout, made the team, made starting position. I was right guard for a little while.
Hey, Jared, that swerve I was going to tell you about, here it is.
It's going to be from a nerdy dad's point of view.
You're starstruck. It's not a big deal, man.
I am starstruck.
I made a really good career out of being able to bump, sell, and I had a punch me face.
That's why they call it If You Give a Dad a Podcast.
Exactly. Available everywhere podcasts are found.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, there you are.
Okay, so to tell you the absolute truth, the entire time we've been doing this podcast, brand new PC, the HDMI lead has completely just not worked. I have not seen my computer screen the entire time we've been talking. The entire time we've been talking, I have literally been trying to get my screen back alive. I can now see my screen. But I don't get how, but the PC cut off. I don't know if I knocked the lead by accident or maybe I pressed a button, but my PC just turned off. And I'm halfway through talking and it just cuts off. I'm like, huh? What the fuck?
No, I'm sitting over here like, I'm just talking to myself because I think Ty lost power.
Legit, I did, yes. So what was the last thing you heard me say?
We were talking about Apocalypse. Oh, I asked you, who do you think, sent them through time?
Yeah, so my first thought was Nathan. That was my first thought. Well, my first idea would have been young Nathan, because in my head, it would have been cool if Nathan wanted his parents. That's who he wanted. He wanted his mum and dad. So, obviously, this is the world of mutants, it's the world of X-Men. That is possible that Nathan could somehow have brought Jean, and because only Jean and Scott in the future. It's only them two. That is it that we know of. There's only them two in the future. So Nathan's called them two to the future. And that accidentally sends the rest of the X-Men back in time. But then you have this. Obviously, as we know, Cable's whole thing is to beat Apocalypse. Well, what if, when the X-Men get sent back in time, they do something that makes him Apocalypse, which then leads back to Nathan accidentally sending him back to the past, so it kind of ripple effects that it's actually Nathan's fault. So you have this whole thing of Cable learns this, and maybe it's a whole story arc for him of he's meant to stop Apocalypse, but then he accidentally made Apocalypse. He started what he's meant to stop, if that makes sense. That was my first idea, is maybe it's young Nathan who causes it, because he wanted his parents, but wanting his parents caused the thing that he's made to stop. I just thought that was a cool idea. But, secondly, I kind of want it just to be an accident. I kind of just want it to be accidental. Like, just make it some way that they've got sent through time. Because, not like me and you have recently discussed, not everything needs an explanation. But, this is Marvel, this is Disney, this is X-Men, of course it's going to be somebody. Some people I've read want it to be Darkhawk, or Deathhawk, whatever the fuck she's called. The sister, the evil sister.
Oh, Deathbird?
Yeah, thank you, Deathbird. Some people think it's her.
See,
as in,
I
to
think
get rid of Xavier.
I think it's Apocalypse. If you watch the original X-Men cartoon, Apocalypse gets trapped in the timeline.
Yeah, that was going to be my next one. Is the obvious answer is Apocalypse, because Apocalypse gets stuck in a timeline. He's done timey-wimey stuff in the comic books. You know, this isn't odd for him. This is quite normal. So yeah, that would be my first. But they might surprise us, you know, that it could be anything really. But again, yeah, it is more than likely Apocalypse.
They may surprise us and it's the Watcher.
Ooh, that's another cameo we didn't speak of.
Oh yeah, we did not talk about seeing the Watcher in the sky on the episode that Gambit dies.
So,
which actually, that kind of makes sense why he was there.
So here's the thing, right? And I need people to hear me when I say this. Just because the Watch is there doesn't fucking mean they're connected to What If or anything like that. What they've done is this. And they haven't directly said this, but this is kind of where people are going. Marvel now has two subdivisions. We've got Marvel Spotlight, which anything that's underneath Marvel Spotlight will be mature, 18 plus rated, which means it'll be gory, it'll be violent, it'll be sexual, it'll be whatever the case may be. Air quote, Daredevil, Echo, Punisher, that sort of stuff. Then we have Marvel Animation, which does What If, the new Spider-Man show, X-Men 97, and now this new Wakandan show they've also announced, which I'm also looking forward to. All they did there with having the Watcher is they're going to connect everything. We'll see the Watcher and Spider-Man, we'll see the Watcher and Wakanda. All it is just to show that this is the multiverse. It's all connected still. That's all it is. Because in Marvel Spotlight, they're doing something similar as well. All the shows will either have Matt Murdock, Daredevil, or Kingpin show up. Even if it's a movie poster, or no, not a movie poster, like just a poster, or they're on the news, or something like that. It'll have Matt Murdock, Daredevil, or Kingpin on the screen somewhere at some point. The Watch is the same. It's just to connect things. They aren't going to bring X-Men into What If and have them team up with Agent Carter like everyone keeps fucking mentioning. That isn't going to happen. Marvel Animation has even said they're not going to do like the MCU. It is the MCU. Technically speaking, it is still the MCU, which should be named the MCM now because it's not a universe, it's a multiverse. But I beg to differ. But yeah, the Watcher was a cool scene, and some people missed it. Have you actually like seen people actually like? To be fair, he's not detailed. He's in the sky. He's an outline.
Yeah,
but like people missed
not
it.
Really there, physically there, but yeah. If you're not a fan, I guess it's easy to miss. But I mean, I caught it right away. I was like, "Hold up, was that the Watcher?" And
But,
here's the thing: you were trying. You brought up with the Watcher that it's not connected. Again, go back into your comics, guys. The Watcher is just that. He's a Watcher.
Yeah.
He watches major events throughout history.
Yep.
The attack on Genosha obviously is a major event. That's what they were trying to tell you. Was okay.
Well,
It's
big. It's not just major events. The Watcher is the best. I actually watched a YouTuber the other day, and he explained it like this: the Watcher is the cosmic, multiversal way of a man sat on his couch watching multiple TV programs. That's literally all the Watcher does. It's not just major events; it's all universe. He just likes that's his job. It's just to watch universes. And some versions of the Watcher, there's actually more than one, but some versions of the Watcher actually has him depict stuff down. Like, he'll actually, like, draw it, or he'll write stuff down, or he'll make notes or whatever. But, like, yeah, he just watches universes. And in What If, you know, every single episode, it starts with him talking. He goes, well, this pinnacle moment changes the way this universe goes. And that's why he's on the episode where Gambit dies, because that changes the way things goes. Because if Gambit didn't die, we wouldn't have Rogue going off on one, we wouldn't have Magneto going, being captured and shit, and all that jazz. Things would have gone out differently. That's the pinnacle moment that changed the universe. That's like you said, it's a pinnacle point. And so that's why the Watcher was there. But yeah, the Watcher isn't going to do anything. It was just a nice little thing to show, just so you know, it's all connected in a tiny way.
But the thing is, for us true comic fans, the Watcher is a character. He is a thing. He is there. It doesn't have to be this massive connection. It's just saying, yes, the Watcher is in this universe.
Again, a cameo should display, expand, and showcase. That's all a cameo is. And that's what they did. They showcased the fact the Watcher was there. They displayed him very well without actually putting him on screen properly, and it expanded the fact that, hey, by the way, it's being watched by the Watcher. You know, the guy from What If? Yeah, it's the same guy.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you now, Spider-Man and the Wakandan show will also have the Watcher in somewhere. Guaranteed. And it will be it'll be an episode that does something as well. If we see the Watcher, we know something's going to happen. It's almost like a tease, like, oh, this is the episode, by the way. This is the episode. Keep watching.
You pointed out really well. That is the episode where everything changed.
Yep.
Everything went down a completely different path, because if they survived, it wouldn't have went the way it went.
Yep.
So, yeah. So that was a good point to what the Watcher was doing and why he was watching. But yeah, no, I didn't think he was connected to What If. It was just yes, that's the Watcher. He's a character in Marvel.
Yeah, and I think it's actually a really clever way of connecting stuff, because Marvel I don't understand why everything needs to be connected with Marvel. I mean, it's how they made their buck. So
really?
It's how they made their
You
millions.
don't understand why everything needs to be connected? Really?
No, I'm talking, right, hang on, go now, right? There's no need for that, okay? I do it in a clever fucking way. Fuck you. Right? Go away.
Sorry, I had to.
No, I will leave.
You already have once.
I didn't mean to. That was maybe my PC. Maybe my PC's a mutant and can detect the future. It knew that you would bully me. But like,
gosh, oh gosh.
And again, I've just lost my screen, and I haven't even touched anything this time.
Oh boy.
So like, I'm with Marvel. I don't know why everything needs to be like always an expanding of I guess because that's how they made their millions. Avengers literally put them on the map again. But like, I'm glad it was that subtle. I'm glad that it's just an acknowledgement that oh, by the way, the Watch is here. Everything's going to be minutely connected. But again, we had Iron Man, Captain America, and all this stuff. They've expanded it just a little bit more and gone, yeah, the Watch is watching this bit too. And yeah, it's on the episode where it's one of the biggest turnarounds. Okay, Storm losing her powers are pretty big. To be fair, that was a big, like, holy fuck moment. And, Xavier fucking coming back, big moment, and all that stuff. But Gambit dying, half, like, loads... Gambit wasn't the only death, obviously. Loads of people died. But there was more to it, Gambit is a main character.
Yeah. It was a bigger scene in its whole.
Yeah, but like so many people died, and that's why the Watcher was there. Which I was actually like, when I saw the Watcher there, I was like, oh, I wonder if they will like do something multiversal. And then when Gambit died and stuff, I can't remember who said it. I think it might have been Mark. But when he brought up the Watcher, he said that the Watcher watches all things. So I did some Googling and I was like, I wonder why they put the Watch in it for. And that's when I read I think it was the Marvel wiki of the Watcher, and it said that the Watcher watches everything, but obviously in the comic books and stuff, it always shows him watching the pinnacle moments. I was like, oh yeah, of course, Gambit dying is going to ruin everything. Like, that's going to change everything. And it did, literally. I mean, Rogue dropped someone off a building. Well, no, it wasn't even a building. She was flying, but she dropped somebody.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was yeah.
It was very entertaining.
Yes, very good show. And it has spawned some fun stuff since it, too. At least in mine and yours worlds.
I was actually going to say, we're like easily, past the 2-hour mark. So if you want to, we can just spend the last couple of minutes, talking about our little, what's been going on behind the scenes here when it comes to meeting you. So do you want to kind of start it off since you kind of started this?
So I have had a X-Men story for a while now that I've been working on. And it has recently gone to Tiger Tales because Ty was gracious enough to move all my stuff from Storytime to Tiger Tales.
Yes, because, and sorry, I'm just going to call you out on this right now, okay, because I fucking can. Someone came to me and was like, oh, I don't know if I can carry on with Storytime, I may have to, maybe just stop it or take a massive break or whatever. And I was like, dude, if you want to stop Storytime but feel like you want to go back, just put it on Tiger Tales. It's fine. And so, yeah, over the last couple of weeks, I've now been... The stories that he's told me, he's given me a list, I've now been porting it to Tiger Tales, and if you want to hear them continue, they will now be on Tiger Tales, including the X-Men, which literally has continued. It's the one storyline that has now continued. There are episodes on Tiger Tales that are not on Storytime. But yeah, continue.
That's just because it's, because of 97 that I've been so focused on X-Men. But Ty and I had a disagreement about X-Men a while back, so I was like, okay, let's do this, and I created Marvel Universe 19, which may sound familiar because if you know me, I have the podcast Power Rangers Universe 19. And yes, they are the same universe.
And then with your said X-Men universe, I've also expanded it with an Avengers storyline. And then you've also roped in A-Crown and Mark the Corner Stranger into it as well. So this will actually be your first podcast where you have more than... I know you got Universe 92 and me and Mark. But the difference is, we send you stuff, you upload it. You actually asked Mark to write Beetle Troopers. I'm just me, I'll come up with all random stuff. But this is the first time you've just gone, hey guys, this is the universe. there's a few characters you can't use because me and Ty are using them, but, have at it. As long as you communicate first, have at it. And, A-Crown's coming up with some cool stuff. Me and A-Crown's come to me and asked me a few things to do with Jarvis, and I think I'm going to be his Jarvis voice actor now as well, actually.
Nice.
Well, no, because me and A-Crown agreed that, if I'm going to be Jarvis in my storylines, it'd be kind of cool if Jarvis sounds the same in all stories. So anyone who uses Jarvis, if I just be the voice actor, then it kind of it's again a small cameo thing. It's just slightly connected. We all
It makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Marvel Universe 19 is a YouTube channel. It's got X-Men at this moment in time of you. Okay, so this comes out Monday. This comes out Monday I want to say 27th. Yeah, 27th. By Monday the 27th, will the new story be out by then or no?
As of right now, no. But I'm not saying that's not a possibility because I have finally got all my edits done, so I could work on the new story. I mean, it's written, so I just need to record it.
Do you want to mention what the new story is, or do you want me to not say anything?
Well, let's elaborate on your Avengers, and then we'll work back into mine because you did bring up Avengers first.
Okay, so Avengers Earth's Last Alliance. I kind of mixed up the names of. I want to kind of represent Ultimate Alliance a little bit, and then Willy kind of mentioned it. So okay, I'll work it in, and so yeah, Avengers Earth's Last Alliance. And I'm a stickler for using characters that don't get enough spotlight, or I deem as not enough spotlight. If it's a main character, I'm like, no, they're the main character. They have a story. My main Power Ranger character, his sensei is Adam, not Zach. That sort of stuff. So I've kind of built a Avengers team using the side characters. So Ironheart, Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Jane Foster's Thor, Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, the leader is Captain America, but it's Sam Wilson. I know that these people are Avengers at some point, but the main Avengers get more love and attention. That's kind of my point. I've also thrown in odd characters like Human Torch. I've added to the team. Deadpool will make an appearance at some point. And things, but it also revolves around my OC mutant called Oculos, who has the ability of when his eyes change color, he can do different things. And if people know Mutants for Hire, which is another one of my storylines, Oculos is in that. This is an alternate version of him. Me and Willy actually came up with 3 different colors, can do 3 different things, which also gets explored in the newest episode, which should be out by the time this podcast episode comes out. Just saying, because I have it recorded, I just need to edit it. Question mark.
I need it so I can react to it.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. Well, he's also reacting now to it, which I think is kind of cool. But in this particular version, Oculos doesn't know how to use his powers. He has no clue, and also he's best friends with Gambit. So we've changed it up from Mutants for Hire. It's different, and he's going to end up working with one of Willy's teams, but also work with the Avengers. His suit is literally one of the yellow, kind of think X-Men Evolution-esque suits, but with an Avengers logo painted on the shoulder. So he's kind of a bit of both. But I just wanted to play around with some of the side characters, make something cool, and Willy said I could put it into his universe. We had to figure a few things out, why is there a new Avengers team? Who's on it? Why aren't they there? All that jazz. And obviously, like I said, A-Crown and Mark the Cornish Ranger writing stuff, so they've got to stick to who's around and who's not, which is, I think A-Crown's liking it. I think he's liking the challenge. I don't know if Mark's done anything yet. I don't know if Mark said anything to you about what he's doing.
He's talked to me about his plan, but I don't think he's actually ironed anything out yet. From what I know, it's going to be Fantastic Four related, and it's going to revolve around the Thing, and that's about as much as we can share.
It's Mark. Does he ever iron anything out? Let's be honest.
I plead the Fifth Amendment because he is our middle brother.
But yeah, go on. You can, if you want to. You don't have to explain much. I just thought this is the perfect time to.
So the next story that will be uploaded, and I will make it uploaded before this comes out, just so Ty can.
I was just saying, you don't need to do that. Jeez.
It's because Ty's pressuring me. I'll make sure it's out.
Bro, you want to talk about fucking pressure? I can pressure you if you want me to.
Oh yeah, like you pressure my son who still hasn't got anything out?
Oh, dude, don't fucking get me started on your child. He still owes me lines, by the way.
Oh, well, seeing how that's a great segue. The other story that I have, it's called The Next Class, which it's spelled Next, but the X is capitalized. So it is going to be a story about, as you can guess, students from Xavier's school. And I did, as a fun twist for our dad group that we have, I took all of our children and turned them into mutants. So they're the main characters of this storyline.
So that'd be your 4, my 1, Mark's 1, A Crown's 3?
Yes.
And then Jared's 2.
Yes.
So that's 11. He's. By the way, Willy doesn't make OCs. Can I just say, all right? Since I've known him, which is almost 3 years by this point, right? Okay. At first, he'd never make an OC other than his kids being Power Rangers, right? But now I've broke him, and now he's crumbled down into such a good little writer that fucking finally, he now is willing to make more OCs. So he actually gave all 4 of his kids abilities and stuff, and I was like, yes, come on, let's go.
So yeah, all our kids are mutants, and it's kind of going to be how you would think it. It's going to be them, traversing being students, and yes, they'll have some missions, but it won't be like their actual X-Men. So, and
you're playing around with the coming of age story of Spider-Man mixed with trying to be mutants and X-Men and live in the same world as humans that X-Men do. You're kind of combining those 2 concepts into one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
more or less. And your son and my son are going to get into an altercation.
Yes, and Oclos. That's the team that Oclos will be joining every now and then. For like little missions and stuff. Whenever Willy wants him there, you can have him.
No, that's not the team we talked about. We talked about wild cards. He's going to join the wild cards every once in a while.
Well, technically speaking, nothing stops him joining Next Class either.
Yeah, no, nothing does. That's actually a great idea.
Technically speaking, it's wherever Gambit fucking puts him. So, like, you could actually have Oclos be a part of all 3 X-Men teams at some point.
Yes, we can. And that's a great idea. We might have to have him on a squad at one point, and then over on the wild cards, and then at Next Class.
Because you could literally make the joke of every time Oclos goes to the X Mansion to train with Gambit, there's something that needs Gambit's attention, and it always ends with Oclos getting shot at, or something like that. It's something like that. And I don't even have Oclos go, do I have to go to the X Mansion today? I always end up getting shot at. Something like that. I can easily write that in.
I'm sick. Do I have to go to school today?
But Mom, I always get a gun pulled on me.
Oh my god, that will be great. But yeah, that's that one, and then I have 2 others I'm working on that are Marvel X-Men related. Well, one of them's X-Men related, the other one's just Marvel related.
So when it comes to Marvel Universe 19, I have 2 more storylines I'm working on. One revolves the Iron Patriot. It's an OC, but it's Iron Patriot. And then I'm kind of stuck, but Nightcrawler's one of my favorite mutants. I did want to do something with Wolverine, but if you type in Wolverine's children, it comes up with like 8 fucking pages, and I'm like, yeah, X-Men, like Wolverine's had enough clones and shit, but I kind of want to play with a similar concept of like X-23, but with Nightcrawler. So like I'm kind of working with Willy there, and we're gonna come up with like trying to work it around like how it work and stuff like this. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what I can come up with. And then when it comes to, I think that's everything I'm doing on. So you're gonna have, by the end of the year, I'll work it that way. By the end of the year, you're gonna roundabout have your 3 X-Men storylines. You said there's another one as well, which, do I know what that is?
Marvel. Yeah. It's a Marvel. Remember, one of your characters was from that team, but I couldn't use him, so...
Right, yeah, okay. No, I started thinking, do I know what that is? I'm kind of confused. So, and then I've got my 3, Mark's 1, Akron's 1, and yeah, Akron and Mark can come up with more if they wanted to. They just kind of they don't have the vast ability of writing multiple stories that me and Willy can.
Yeah, we go down rabbit holes very quickly.
And on the idea of X-Men, I'll throw this out too. I've been going. Willy kind of gave me a bollocking the other day because I have this whole thing of if I have a story out, I feel like I have to continue it. I feel like I can't take a break. So Willy kind of told me off and said that like if I've got new ideas, just write them. So I came up with a really cool idea of
this story he's going to tell you guys about. Oh, Chef's Kiss. I'm just saying.
So like I came up with this idea of another Oculus, but his real name's Onyx. But he's not a mutant. It's the idea of what would happen if a superhero didn't have their powers, and he's a bounty hunter for mutants. He's just like think of Hitman and the Transporter movies and Matrix type shit. This dude can do stuff. He's not a superhuman, he's not a mutant, he's not super at all. He's just a guy who knows his stuff and he hunts down mutants, and he's now made it so the X-Men and Brotherhood are being framed and they have to be forced to work together. And I uploaded it, and it's now my most viewed storyline of all time with like 300 and something views. I have to check your nostalgia time. I don't know if Pokemon outbeats it or not, because that got a lot of views as well. People like me writing Pokemon. But yeah, X-Men is called, I think it's X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants, World War M, which stands for World War Mutant. So yeah, it's one of those stories that I'm gonna upload it when I want to. If I feel like I just want to write superhero stuff. I've got another storyline coming out, which is just me writing because I just want to write new stuff, and it's another superhero story. It's just me dicking around with an idea. But yeah, it's fun. It's entertaining. Willy seemed to like it apparently.
Yeah, I told you as much.
Yeah, go check out Cosplaydude637, the YouTube channel, because you'll find Willy reacting to my Avengers storyline, which I didn't actually know he was going to do until he did it.
Yeah, I kind of surprised him.
Yeah, which I must admit was actually very sweet. I did like, I'll take that. I was like, all right, fair enough. Which I told Neo, I was like, yeah, Willy's reacted to like my story. And then Neo just went, he likes copying you, doesn't he? I was like, what do you mean? And she goes, makes multiple YouTube channels now, uploading Marvel stories now, reacting. I think you inspire him. I was like, yeah, maybe I do.
I think it goes both ways, but...
Yeah, it definitely does, yeah. But anyway, we've rambled on about X97 for maybe 10 minutes too long. But...
Never! I must have my title back.
But if you guys have enjoyed this episode, of course, check out the other 2 geeky episodes I've done recently. The first one was actually with my guest today. He explained Shadowhunters, the book, to me. He taught me a few things. And of course, he also compared it to the TV show and movie, which didn't do very well. And the second one, which he doesn't like, but it's fun. Me and the host of If You Give It Out a Podcast geeked about Angel, the TV show, the spin-off of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That was a lot of fun to do as well. I'm looking for more guests to come and geek out a bit. It's going to be entertaining. And yeah, thank you, Willy, for coming on and geeking about X-Men. You're the perfect person to do this with. I couldn't pick anyone else, you know. Like as soon as I finished watching it, I was like, I want to do an episode about it. Like I want to do. I was like, I need to get Willy on at some point. Like he's the go-to X-Men dude. Like come on.
Hey, I am the X-Men. I am the X-Men nerd of the group, if anything.
Well, you cosplay as Gambit, you know, like
yes, that I do.
And your wife cosplays as Rogue, so like it just makes sense.
Yeah.
Dude, if you want to plug anything, this is your chance. If you want to tell people where they can find you and shit.
You said this is coming out on Monday, so
yes, Monday.
If anybody is in the Des Moines area between the 31st and the 2nd, come on down to Des Moines Con. I will have a table for our studio, mine, Ty's, and Mark's studio, the Three Ranger Bros studio, and come say hi to me.
Yeah, he's been planning this for a while. I helped make the banner Which, by the way, I'm actually really proud of. It came up on my Canva the other day, like, it asked me if I wanted to save it. I was like, do you know, I'm actually really proud of it. That's really cool. I think that's one of my best things I've made, to be fair. But
yeah, it looks amazing in real life too.
I actually said to Neil, I was like, I'm jealous that I can't see it. Like, you sent me a picture, but it's not like in person. You know, I want to see it in person. That'd be dope. But yeah, you know, check out Marvel Universe 19. It's Willy's channel, but he's kind of made it, you know, for people, you know, using it, sort of thing. Which is really cool because it expands. You know, you get to hear different people. You know, hence another reason why I got Storytime to come on to Tiger Tales now. If you're not just listening to me, you also get Willy as well. And he's my parabatai, so you know it's you know I trust him.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, check out Tiger Tales on all its branching other channels. It's of course, you know, that's where you'll
There
find
is a lot.
Shut up. Shush. There's not that many. There's not that many. I'm not in double digits of YouTube channels whatsoever. Anyway. Make sure you check out the podcast on YouTube and subscribe to the channel. If you check it out on Spotify or anything like that, make sure you give us a follow. And every Monday, well, I say every Monday. Monday's my release day. I'm trying to make it every Monday. That's the plan, but of course, life happens. And
life.
Yes, 110%. Make sure you check out Nerd Through Comics, which is of course Mark's podcast. And of course, make sure you check out Power Rangers Universe 19, which is another one of Willy's stuff. You'll find Mark on there. It's a 3-Ranger Bro collaboration at this point, which is also in the same universe as Marvel Universe 19. They're the same universe. It's just Power Rangers and Marvel. We kind of separated them. It made more sense for the viewership more than anything else. And thank you guys for listening. If you've enjoyed X-Men 97, go to the YouTube channel of the podcast. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys thought of X-Men 97. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me about the animation. You know, what are you expecting in season 2? If you could bring an X-Men into it or a Brotherhood member, you know, who'd you like to be in the show itself? And I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Check out Zeta Hero if you give that a podcast. And I shall see you guys next week. Thank you, Willy, for coming on. And I shall see you guys real soon.
This podcast is a production of the 3 Ranger Bros Studios in association with Zeo to Hero, the podcast.